Okay. Hello, everyone. So glad you're here. Hi, I'm Nora. I'm a grateful recovering channel of abundance in DA and UA and other, BDA and other programs. We are going to dive into spending plan, spending plan stuff that you need to know. We're going to just want to make sure I am not pinned, am I? I'm not. Um, Oh yeah, I am. Okay, good. Um, we're gonna dive into the content for like 30 minutes, and then we're gonna do Q&A. Okay. So let's rock and roll. Okay. So where does the spending plan come from? John H. is the founder of Debtors Anonymous. He was a sober alcoholic. And he visited both OA and Gamblers Anonymous meetings. OA stands for Overeaters Anonymous. He visited both Overeaters Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous meetings to try to understand. First, with OA, he wanted to understand what were people doing who couldn't completely give up their addiction. And with Gamblers Anonymous, he wanted to understand what were people doing whose addictions connected with money. And so spending plan in DA comes from food plan. And that's not a bad thing. That's a beautiful thing. But I think it gets really confusing because I came into DA through Overeaters Anonymous. My first program was Overeaters Anonymous. I came into Overeaters Anonymous in January of 2006. I came into DA in July of 2006. My personal story is that when I came into DA in July of 2006, I was homeless. I had no money for food, which is a very scary thing if you're an overeater, if you're a compulsive overeater who needs to follow a food plan. Um, and um, the um, uh, oh wait, so I didn't have money for food. I was homeless uh, and I didn't know what else to do. So that was the beginning of DA for me. Um, within a very short amount of time, I was earning much more money. Um, I became financially stable. In 2011, I became someone who earns money in my vision as a business owner. I do not earn money from DA. Like, don't worry. We use a lot of different, we use a lot of different things that are my personal business resources to support the message we're trying to carry about how DA actually works. But I'm not earning money off of you guys. This is all free. My business is a completely separate thing. And I don't want your money. Please don't give me your money. Like, please go work the program. Okay. Um, so so when I came into DA, I knew that I was an overeater. I knew that I was a compulsive overeater. And I'll be honest, I had a lot of hatred for the ladies that I knew in Overeaters Anonymous who were naturally anorexic, i.e., they looked skinny to the outside world. And that, of course, is very attractive in the outside world. When I came into Debtors Anonymous, I realized, oh, I'm anorexic here. And there's a lot of people struggling with compulsive spending. And I do have my version, and I have had moments of compulsive spending problems, but I stopped hating the anorexics in Overeaters Anonymous when I came to Debtors Anonymous because I saw it's the same disease with a different set of processes, and we all just have different branches on the tree of the disease. So it just makes sense to me um, that this is how it goes. Um, so so John H. went to OA, heard about food plans, created the spending plan, but he never followed a food plan. So let's talk about how we can understand spending plans better if we think about how food plans work. Food plans are based on our physical needs. Like, the whole point of a food plan is that we're trying to actually nourish our body and not use food as a drug. It doesn't mean we can't enjoy our food. We often get to enjoy our food a lot, you know? Um, but um, but it absolutely means that we are going to have to find out what our physical needs are, because at least for me, when I walked into Overeaters Anonymous, I didn't know what my hunger and my fullness felt like in a healthy way. I did not know that at all. So I needed to get outside input on what to eat and how to care for my body. And I also, over time, learned that my body changes, right? So with the spending plan, we start with our needs. our needs change over time. And we start with the basics. So the basics in this is like Nora's estimation. There's wonderful spending plan brochures and wonderful DA literature about spending plans. This is just what I wish more people would know and see, so I'm sharing it with all of you. Sorry, I'm still admitting people. So these are the basics for what we all need in order to make sure we're not dying, right? We need a place to live. We need food to nourish our bodies. We need electricity and cell phone. We need to be able to transport ourselves. We need medical and dental care. And we definitely need a prudent reserve. And I put prudent reserve at the top because I want people to really get that, like, even if you can only put $1 in, put $1 in. It's a spiritual practice. Now, most people who've come to me over the course of the last 20 years asking about spending plans, they're often asking, what do I do about like the fact that I need this manicure, the fact that I need to buy another lipstick. What do I do about the fact that I need 5 more, pieces of clothing? And I go, do you really need it? Like, do you have other clothes in your closet? Like, did you just go through a fire? Do you have other lipstick? And we're not trying, there's a lot of the blind leading the blind, unfortunately. When folks ask for help with business spending plans or any kind of spending plan, because I hear people saying a lot. Well, I hear people saying to their sponsees and to their pressurees, well, we don't want you to feel deprived. So I guess if you're going to feel deprived, if you don't have your manicure. Oh gosh, somebody's drawing on the screen. How do I do that? Oh, more people are drawing on the screen. There's like can I get some help here? Disable annotation for others. There we go. And then my annotate, I'm going to.
You need a co-host to help you?
I have a co-host, but I wouldn't mind a second co-host. Is that Chatty talking?
Chatty. Yes, ma'am.
Turn it off in host tools.
I'm sorry?
You can turn this off in host tools. The white.
I got it. I figured it out. I'm good. But
Great.
Thank you. Chatty, the biggest fear that I have in adding another co-host is that when we added multiple co-hosts another time, we lost the spotlight on my face and then people got recorded who didn't want to get recorded. So I don't want that to happen. So I think I'm just gonna stick with what we're doing right now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So interesting. Okay, I think I've got it. So the basic cost of you incorporated. So people will say to me, I think that my sponsee told me she would feel deprived if she didn't get this manicure. And I think that we've never done the thing in DA, or we haven't done it in a widespread way where we say, the notion of whether or not you are deprived, like the question of do I feel deprived or do I not feel deprived, is very similar to the question for people in Overeaters Anonymous of do I feel hungry? Because when I first came into Overeaters Anonymous, I felt hungry all the time. I felt hungry when I was happy, when I was sad, when I was angry, when I was, in a good mood, in a bad mood, etc. So the question of what is a need and what is a want, these are questions that we are still learning how to answer in Debtors Anonymous, and there's no one perfect answer. So, so then, when we're making a spending plan, we say, okay, we've got prudent reserve, we've got home, food, utilities, transport, medical, dental. Then we've got other stuff that we add as frills, right? So, clothing, activities, makeup, self-care, vision, travel, all of those, right? All of these things are things that we have to think about in terms of like, do I want it? Do I need it? And then there comes this moment where we have to say, okay, no matter what the numbers are, every spending plan requires an action plan. We have to know, what am I doing to earn the money that is going to fund this plan? So in Overeaters Anonymous, this looks like a trip to the grocery store. And that's usually where the debates end. In Debtors Anonymous, we have 4 million other things to talk about. Because you don't just go to the grocery store and get money for your life. And the issue of how do I take action to fund my life is the core issue of spending plan. However, I have seen so many DA people, thousands of DA people, get caught up and feel trapped in the perpetual debate of, should I spend it? Should I not? Should I spend it? Should I not? Should I spend it? Should I not? Which is kind of like one step into the development of, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm a mess. So usually people come in, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm a mess. Everything is vague. I don't know what's happening. It's a mess. I'm about to get evicted. I can't afford food, whatever it is, right? For me, it was homeless. So that's like the baseline. That's the bottom. And then the next step after that is, I'm coming into clarity and I have no idea what the right answers are, right? And so that's why people ask so many questions about spending plan long before they ever get to the actions, right? Long before we ever talk about how hard and challenging earning can be for those of us who end up in 12-step recovery and what to do about it and how to solve for that, right? The reason is because the question of what is a good spending plan for me, whoever I am, right? What is that good spending plan? That question is not an easily answered one for most people when they come in. So they assume the answer is they need a sponsor. They assume the answer is they need someone smarter than them, wiser than them, someone who's done a good job saving and earning and investing. And then they can't find those people. And then they just get stuck. So this is why I started leading these workshops, so that we could get you guys all the information about how it goes. And all spending plans require action to turn into reality. But we have to talk about like what we actually do to figure out how to track what it is we need and how to get a sense of spirituality, a sense of surrender into our spending. Because I find that the vast majority of people in DA, if they're in crisis, that's one version of their experience of the DA problem. But if they're in a constant feeling of, I don't know what's right, that's a different version of the DA problem. Okay? So I want to take a pause and check in and ask if there are any questions or comments, because this is pretty much the end of the slide. Like, I really want to make this as interactive as possible. I do have like a sample spending plan that we're going to look at together. And I have a few more things I want to tell you guys about, but I want to like do it based on things you've asked for, which I have a feeling you'll ask for. So let's go with Chatty.
Yes, hi. So I was surprised in the past slide you put prudent reserve as the first item. Is there like a percentage, no matter what the income is?
Chatty, one of the things, so if you read the spending plan pamphlet, it talks a lot about, we put our needs first, including like saving, prudent reserves, accruals, special purchases, things like that. The thing that I find that happens the most, and like I've been in Debtors Anonymous for 20 years, and I do have very high net worth, and it's all money I earned. And you know, it's like, I don't receive child support. Like, I didn't come in with any money, right? So this is what I have. Like, I've never left. I'm here for 20 years, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of people. And what I find is that most people in DA are kind of like in a merry-go-round with other people who don't know very much and other people who haven't gone very far. And so they're all kind of like enabling each other to spend to bottom, to spend to zero. And I think that one of the things that I want to see happen in DA is I want to see people get excited about putting a huge percentage in prudent reserve, like, and get excited about it and feel good about it and feel like, wow, I'm taking great care of myself. And once I've started fleshing out my prudent reserve, what next? How do I take care of myself when I'm old? How do I take care of myself with special purchases, saving for special purchases, right? How do I, how do I really become someone who has choices with my money instead of a sort of constant feeling of I have to spend this money or else I won't be okay. Does that make sense, Chatty?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
So that's why I put it there. I mean, I have seen stuff that put other kind like prudent reserve and other things like spiritual, recovery treasury and things like that at the top. When I show you a sample spending plan, it's like a sample-y version of my spending plan. I put retirement and prudent reserve and recovery treasuries at the top, and then I put other stuff below that. So like no one has to do it exactly one way or another, but I think that it would be great if everybody made their goal to be like, let me see what it feels like as soon as my basic needs are met. Let me see what it feels like to the next thing I'm doing is I'm taking really good care of myself in the future, somehow, some way, near future, medium future, long-term future, right? That's the thing that I want people to get excited about rather than like, let me buy that fifth color of lipstick, you know? So thank you so much for asking that question. It's a great question. Popeye the Sailor Man, who has a wonderful cartoon.
Hi, my name's Popeye the Sailor Man, and I'm a debtor, a compulsive spender, under earner, and super, super grateful to be here with everybody on this call. And I just want to say thank you so much for this workshop, for the courage that you've had to open up the doors, swing them wide open, invite us all in, and to do your best with this. And I'm just so psyched to be here. And when you said, does anybody have anything, any comments? I don't have any questions. I just have a comment. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And go team, all of us, for being here. So with that, I'll pass.
Thanks. And I just noticed the chat. Thanks so much, Popeye. This is sponsored by a DA meeting, and the DA meeting doesn't have a YouTube channel, so we're using mine as a way to serve the DA meeting. And we will ask for a collection, and the collection will all go to that DA meeting in Hessen, Germany, that is raising money to send their GSR to the GSR conference. So I apologize if I didn't remember to say that. I'm so busy trying to get everybody to change their name. So thank you so much, Popeye, for your very sweet words. And yeah, we're sponsored by a DA meeting. We're just trying to get the message out as much as possible. Okay, Daisy.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what's the difference between abundant spending plan and ideal spending plan?
I put them there, like, that's like asking the question, like, what's the difference between excellent and fantastic? Like, I don't know. Okay. I know what I think of them as, but I would say, like, the whole point of a spending plan is actually to help you find out how much does it cost to run your life. How much does it cost? Like, think about like a company. Like, what if you are a company? What if it's like you Incorporated, like Daisy Incorporated, right? And if Daisy Incorporated is a lean startup, right? And everybody's working from home and there's no spend on like paper or printers and everything's virtual office, like lean startup, they're going to keep their costs super, super, super low. So most people, when they come into DA, the first thing they have to learn is, how do I keep my costs? Like, how do I find out what it costs to run me Incorporated at the lowest level? Because I am such a mess, And then the second thing that they start to ask is, okay, so how do I earn money? If they're earning money, great. But if they're not, how do I earn money to fund me at the very lowest level of surviving in a clear, non-debting way, right? And thank you for all the people who are nodding. I really appreciate that. I was a little caught off guard when we started, so I apologize. I was a little off my game. I really appreciate everybody just being so friendly. So that's the beginning part. And then there's this next part where people go, you know what? I'm not drowning anymore. I'm treading water, but I think I could learn to like really swim. So what does it look like if I swim? Right? And if I swim, like what and because there's a lot of people who come into DA with compulsive spending stuff, it's not everybody, right? Some of us just come in with like trauma freeze and like financial anorexia and addiction to deprivation and massive under earning and like I've met people who will say like I'm saving money and I'm only earning $1,400 a month because I'm so addicted to deprivation and I'm so this and I'm so that, right? So those people exist, but there is still a large number of people who come into DA and have an experience of I feel better when I buy that next, pretty piece of clothing or piece of makeup or book from Amazon or cool gadget, right? I feel better. Like I can't help how much better I feel. And there is a feeling of compulsiveness. It's like they want to believe they can control it, but the more they spend time in program, they realize that it's happening outside, even when they don't want to do it. And oftentimes spending plan is the first moment we can have for people who are compulsive spenders. It's the first moment they even realize, okay, I'm making a commitment. I'm only going to buy these things and not those things. And then they buy those things. And then they go, what happened? I don't understand. And the answer is, honey pie, you're powerless. you have software that's been downloaded into your brain without your permission. And we have to come inside the fellowship. We have to come into the program and find people and love and support that will help us follow our spending plan as it changes over time. So Daisy, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. That's clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. And then the last thing I was going to say about the compulsive spending is that sometimes if people want to get motivated to earn more, for some compulsive spenders, it helps them to say, well, let me see what would be a more abundant spending plan than the one I'm on. And so then they say, I'm going to increase. I'm going to see what it looks like if I increase, if I get to go to a Broadway show once a month or whatever, right? And then they go, wow, instead of earning $5,000 a month, I need to earn $10,000 a month if I want that spending plan to work. So then what does it look like? How do I go out and earn $10,000 a month? And that is a huge motivator for certain people in Debtors Anonymous. It doesn't work to motivate everyone, I have found, but it does work to motivate a lot of people. And so we don't want to lose that. If that's good, we want to keep using that. Jamie Lee Curtis, star of Stage and Screen.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic. I have already had some real awarenesses here that have been valuable. I'm in OA. I'm kind of a binge purge kind of eater. I'm in recovery, and I remember arguing for, I wanted a certain sweet thing on my birthday, or else my birthday would not be complete. And I hear how that language can transfer into this language, and I realized then, gratefully, that was an argument for my disease. That was an argument for my addiction. And a food plan gives me the freedom to eat healthy and guilt-free and enjoy my food. And I can
check out the next phase.
And I can see
audio settings is not set.
Can I be heard?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. And I can see how a spending plan can do the same thing. It can give me, and I love the Prudent Reserve First. I have to say, I'm 61 years old, and poverty does not age well. And I am motivated, but I didn't know where to turn in this program to start the recovery process. And this seems like the baseline of the recovery process in this program. So I think that's what I have. Thank you. I pass.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jamie Lee Curtis. Heather.
Hi, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the analogy with the OA action plan and food plan. And I'm wondering, I looked through the chat. Do you sponsor people? I'm
I
wondering if I
don't.
could get your number.
It's so sweet of you to ask, Heather. I really appreciate it. I get over 1,000 requests for sponsorship per year. So I hate hoarding my recovery. I don't ever want to hide or withhold my DA recovery from anybody. I want as many people to have the information and the support that I got, which I honestly worked very hard to gather from a lot of places, but I want everyone to get it easier than I got it, you know? So that's why I lead these workshops. That's why I did write a book. I won't say the name of it. I know that like the YouTube channel is like funky and like there's all these like we're doing our best. We're doing our best to like carry the message with the tools we have. But that's why I'm just trying to get the DA recovery out as much as possible. And that's why we have the WhatsApp group because there are people who are like supporting each other inside of that. I will be honest with you. I was talking to someone who is now a leader of a group that is an offshoot of a group I co-founded in 2007, 2008. And she was talking about how they need more sponsors. They need more sponsors. It has to do with like turning over your money before you spend it, which I co-founded this group that did that for 5 years. And I said to her, I never had this particular action group sponsor. I only did it with other people. Like I was a co-founder, the other co-founder and I, we gave it to each other and then we sponsored everybody else. I don't want people to feel like they have to wait to find someone. I want people to know that you can just find fellow travelers and turn these things over. You don't actually need someone who knows more than you. You don't, I mean, you do need to learn things you don't know now. I get that, but you don't need the people that you talk to each day who support you on your actions. You don't need those people to be people who know more than you. And that was a big deal for me to learn in Debtors Anonymous because when I came in homeless and I couldn't afford food, everyone knew more than me, right? And there just came a point where I was like, I don't know that there's that many more people who have like so much more experience, strength, and hope than me, but they had different experience, strength, and hope. And so I learned the reason I had a lot of friends that I recovered with in the early years, and they all left. And the reason I never left is that I never gave up on deciding I could still learn and grow with people to the sides of me, and that I didn't have to look for people above me, and that we could all lift each other. And it has been true, and it continues to be true.
Okay. I look
that
forward to seeing the spending plans then.
Okay, great. Maybe we'll switch that. Go ahead, Lemon Tree. And I love that you're Lemon Tree today.
Hi, Nora. So
Hi,
good to
Lemon
see.
Tree.
Hi, Nora.
Squeezy, squeezy lemonade. What's up?
It's so good to see you. It's so delightful. So delightful. Thank you for this wonderful workshop. Thank you for all the things. Okay, Nora, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I promise you there's a really good question in there. It's just there's a bit of a preamble, so just brace
No problem.
yourself.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to share my screen so people can see the daily spending by week and month, and they can just start taking a look at it. Okay.
Amazeballs. Amazeballs.
So, and guys, can I just ask, have people been able to copy and paste this link from the chat? Like D'Artagnan's been posting it in the chat. Have you been able to copy and paste this link so it shows up like this? Yes, no, yeah? Okay, great. So you're playing with it. Feel free to save a copy and use it for yourselves. But go ahead, Lemon Tree. I want to hear more.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Pardon my voice. I have a head cold. Okay. Nora. So your comparison to OA and the food plan, genius. So helpful. Okay, this is my question. And the headline of my question is, how do I find my crew? And then here's the question. Okay, so food addiction, whoo, rocky road. 10 years of going into every 12-step program, trying everything, couple of rehabs, and now I'm fully abstinent, weighed and measured food plan, yay, 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 about 5 months. And I had to go to a rehab in Florida and get a food plan and blah, blah, blah. So I promise you there's a question coming. So here's the thing. When I follow my food plan, which is no flour, no sugar, no nonsense, everything weighed and measured, I have a million
No
thoughts.
flour, no sugar, no nonsense.
No nonsense. There's a zero nonsense thing.
I know so much nonsense. The minute you say that, I'm like, I have so much nonsense. My food addict brain knows that I
Oh,
love to
of
play with. Go
course.
ahead.
Of course.
I
Of
love
course.
it.
Of course. And it only took me 10 years to figure out what that meant.
Right?
So okay, so there I've got my little food plan. However, Nora, I'm a food addict. So of course, all day my brain is like, "Oh girl, I think you need a donut. Ooh, that was a hard conversation. You need a chocolate." But because I have this crew of people that went and we go to these rehab meetings and everyone's doing what I do, they're all doing what they're not fucking around. I have this crew of people. So when my food addict goes, "Girl, you need a donut," I go to my crew and then I'm good. Okay, here we go. DA. Oh my God. I don't have a crew of people at all that I can be like, okay, yeah, there's all these flaky people over there. Oh, intuitive spending. Oh, I need a manicure. I need a pedicure. all nonsense.
For those of you who are not food addicts, there's this thing called intuitive eating. And
Yeah.
you hear people in food recovery talk about it, and you go, could I ever do that? Could I ever just eat when I
No.
want to? And the
No.
answer is like, oh God, no, for
No.
most of us.
No. I mean, I had a therapist once who was like, why don't you just mindfully eat a Boston cream donut? And I was like, no. So, okay. So DA, I don't know where to find a crew of people that are doing the things so that throughout the day when I have all my spending addict thoughts, which is like, girl, you need a manicure. Ooh, you're sad. You need that lipstick. I don't know how to find a crew of people that can counter the lunatic messages in my head about
100%.
money.
So
Thank you.
I was hoping this question would come up. I knew that a version of this question would come up, and the answer is this thing that I knew we were going to talk about today, but I just needed it to come out of our discussion. I was like, I can't put this in the slides. Like this has, okay. So when I was early in DA, now you're going to get some DA history. When I was early in DA, I had this desperation to be here and to get money and whatever. And I also had this belief that like we're supposed to be here to like the way that Bill W says like in AA, like we spread this like joyful message for all, right? And like we can see how our way of living can work for all. Like it's this huge, like it's so much more than just let's get sober. It's like let's change the world by using our alcoholism as the reason to be radically loving and kind to everyone we meet as much as we can, because we also have to we have to make sure we're not radically loving and kind to an axe murderer who's trying to kill us, right? We have to be like, we can pray for them as we're running away and calling the police, right? So this beautiful thing of like, could we make the whole world radically loving and kind, or could we make the whole world feel more loving and kinder if we as alcoholics took it as our mission to be more than sober, to be of like massive service? And that is what I thought, that is what DA is. It is a place. This is when I was like a child in DA, I was 25 years old. I said, this is a place where we, the people who have the hardest, most difficult, most awful relationship with money, we can lead the world into abundance, into joyful abundance. And that's one of the reasons I started calling myself a grateful recovering channel of abundance. The other was that when I was a kid, there were times when I was able to like perform and show up and make shit happen, make things happen. Sorry, YouTube. And I would get into so much trouble because my mother was so jealous of me. And she would always be really happy about my accomplishments in public. And then in private, she would just turn on me and like abuse me and say horrible things and scream and shout and say, go away, I don't want to look at you. So I learned that success always cancels out love. And when I learned that, it meant that every dollar I earned made me feel like I should feel guilty for something. And when I came into DA, literally at my first meeting, I went, this might be a place where every dollar I earn will help someone else. And that would be the greatest gift of my life, because then I don't have to feel guilty for showing up for life. Because you can't live in life without like earning some money somehow, So I brought that attitude into DA, into my approach to the DA program. And I noticed that a lot of people didn't, I'll be honest. And a lot of people treated the DA program like it was like a grief counseling group for being poor and broke. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be poor and broke. And so I found other people. I found them, like, I talked to hundreds and hundreds of people before I found people who were like, yeah, we're going to be abundant and God wants us to be abundant and prosperous. And we're going to show up and do our numbers and be, rigorous. And so I found some of these people and I started doing it the way they were doing it. And there was just a teeny tiny little group of them. It was two people. Okay. It was two people. And actually, at first, it was just one guy. And he told me, he was like, you're a woman, so we shouldn't talk every day. I know this woman in another state. Do you want to talk to her every day? And she wants to do it the way you want to do it. And I want to do it. I said, sure. So she became my action partner. And then he taught her this thing called turning over, not just having a monthly spending plan, Lemon Tree, but having a daily spending plan that is connected to the monthly spending plan. So I can actually show you this. I started using a spreadsheet that looked like this in 2007. And so I can show you like here, like under groceries. So let's say you're at the first of the month and it just happens to be the first of the month. And let's say that my plan for groceries is $2,000, right? Oh. I'm not editing my version. I'm editing the view version. Hold on. Let's go to my version. There we go. Okay. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to edit the actual Excel spreadsheet so that I don't mess with whatever you guys are seeing.
Oh my God, I want someone to give me a spending plan though, Nora. They just need to give it to me and then I'll follow it.
That it's not impossible to get that, but we can't make your spending plan without knowing what it costs to be you at the very least. Like how much is your mortgage or your rent?
Yeah.
How much is your cell phone bill? Like there are things I've sat down in people with PRGs a million times and been like, okay, let's write it down. Like they'll be like, I don't have my numbers, I can't do it, it's so hard, oh God. And I'm like, okay, can we do it here? So like here, if it's 2,000, right? And I spend $50 on groceries on the 1st, and then I spend, $60 on groceries on the 7th, and then I spend $300 on groceries on the 11th, I can go to the side here and I can see that my total so far is 410. Do you see that? I don't know if it's too small. Let me make it bigger. My total so far is 410, and that's out of 2,000. And so what these two people wanted to do is they wanted to turn over a daily amount that was within what was left for the month of the monthly spending plan. You didn't have to spend it. You would just have it there in case you needed it. And then when you spent it, you would record it, you would put it into your plan. You would say, okay, this is how much I've spent now. And then you would turn over the plan for the next day. So it was kind of like like in food addiction recovery, we have a daily food plan. It was like we had to change the rules a little bit because in daily food plans, you usually have to eat everything on your plan. Whenever I had an optional snack, there was no such thing as optional. I always ate it, right? So here with the DA stuff, like we had to turn over possible money stuff and not always spend it, but just know that it was something we'd already figured out could work from the monthly. And I want to tell you that this young lady who's still my friend and lives in a different state now, this young lady called me and said, I'm going to do it the way this guy came up with. We should do it. And I'm going to stop sharing and see what happens and just see all of your beautiful faces. Okay, we'll do it that way. And she said, I want to do this. Do you want to do it with me? I said, not particularly. It sounds kind of awful. And she said, okay, well, we talk every morning, so can I just turn over my daily numbers to you? I said, sure, absolutely. So she turned over her daily spending plan to me every morning. And then we both would turn over what we had spent the day before, right? And then, sorry, I'm just having we would both turn over what we, oh shit, she just lowered her hand. Great. We both turned over what we had spent the day before. And then we would pray. We would read pages 62 and 63 of the big book and blah, blah, blah. So she was doing that. And then we had these other commitments we did. We did 3 live calls a day. We did 3 live meetings a week. We received 1 PRG a month. We gave 2 PRGs a month, the whole 9. And one day, we'd been doing this for maybe 3 months where she would give over her money the day before, and then we would both read each other the money she would give over money for the day coming, the plan, and we would both give over our record from the previous day. And so this is about 3 months into doing that. And she said, I don't understand, Nora. You do everything else in these funky commitments that this guy and I have kind of invented. Why won't you do this? And I said to her, well, I'm afraid to tell you this because I love you a lot, but I don't want what you have. When you read me the plan, you always sound so anxious. And when you call me to make a money change, you always sound really, really anxious. And I don't want that anxiety. I'm so anxious already, And she said, oh, well, that hurts, but I guess I haven't told you that for the last 3 months, every month that I've been doing this, turning over my money before I spent it, my commission at work has doubled and then doubled again and then doubled again each of these 3 months since I started turning over my money before I spent it. And I remember this was November 30th, 2007. And I remember the exact words that were in my head when she said that. The exact words were, oh, she's a lunatic, but she's a rich lunatic. I'll be a rich lunatic. And I said, I'm in, sign me up, let's do it. And what I did not expect from doing it, I started doing it on December 1st, 2007. What I did not expect from doing it was that, I did it in the morning. I turned it all over to her. It was just like some little daily thing. I did not expect that, the day was a happy day. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I came home that night and I thought something is broken in my apartment because it was like there had been this loud humming and it was gone and I didn't know why it was gone. And I was like, I know there's a machine that was on and I don't know where it was. Where is the machine? I was looking everywhere. I was like, was there an air conditioner or a heater or something that was humming that I didn't notice and now it's gone? I don't understand. And then I figured it out. I was like, why is it so quiet in here? It's so quiet. What I figured out was that there had been this loud humming in my head that sounded like this. Will there be enough? Will there be enough? Will there be enough? Do I have enough money? Will I ever have enough money? Is there enough? Is there enough? Is there enough? Is there enough? How about now? 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 And it was gone. It was just gone. It had been lifted. And I called her up and I told her, and I realized that the reason was that I had brought God and the program into every decision about money in the world. I no longer made decisions about money alone. And I was like, oh my God. And actually that was the beginning of my switch from Overeaters Anonymous to Grace Eaters Anonymous, because that's what they did in this very rigorous food program that I became a part of, which we can talk another time about which food plan is right for which person and why and when and all of those things. But that was such a powerful experience. And then this young lady and the gentleman who came up with that first idea, the 3 of us started this action group. Here's the DA's history. It was called the No Matter What Action Group. And we said, come do 3 live calls a day and 3 meetings a week and PRGs and turn over your money before you spend it. And that action group lived on and then was renamed to Showing Up Action Group. And then people started offshoots. There's a bunch of different offshoots now. Lemon Tree, there's one called DAPS, DA Practicing the Solution. I'm pretty sure there are some people on this workshop who are from DAPS. So if you're from DAPS, if you're in the DAPS community, feel free to post in the chat how people can get on your WhatsApp chat or whatever. It's a wonderful group of people, and they're all doing this thing where they make money changes with each other. And that kind of thing. I just spoke to one of the founders of DApps yesterday, and she was telling me, "Oh, we need more sponsors. We need more sponsors. Will you come back and be a sponsor?" And I was like, "No, that's the thing is we have to learn how to be fellow travelers in this because if we wait for other people to give it to us, we'll never get it." And I respectfully honor that she disagrees with me, and she's totally allowed to disagree with me. So that's you can also find Lemon Tree. You can also find that you can also find people to talk to about that on the WhatsApp group that you're in with My World. But I really encourage you to connect in with those other groups that are doing these kinds of things because they're a tight knit crew, you know.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. I'm glad it wasn't like too long and obnoxious and long-winded.
Oh, it was amazing. Thank
so
you.
it's 2:00. I want to take a quick bio break, okay? And then so keep your hands up, those of you who want to ask questions, okay? And then when we come back, we will resume, okay? Is that cool? Should we set a timer for the bio break?
Yes, that would be great. And also, this is Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
I have a lot of things that are not enabled in my Zoom here, and one of the things I can't do is to change my name. I can't lift my hand. I have no hand to post, and I can't change my background.
Huh. I'm sorry. Well, I think we're recording only me right now. I think I did it right, so hopefully it won't be too
Okay.
weird. But
But if I wave at you, it's so that I'm trying to talk.
You're trying to be in line.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
So why don't you put your name in the chat, Marilyn Monroe,
Oh,
as
and my
I'm in.
chat's disabled too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. We're doing our best. We're trying to be better at the automatic stuff, but when we get better at the automatic stuff, other things break. You know?
Okay, great. It's just disabled. Somebody said that D'Artagnan said I could message. I can't even message you anymore. When I came in the second time. Yeah. So anyway, that's it.
Okay.
And thank you for your service.
That sounds good. And then Olivia, did you want to put the we can do the seventh tradition in a sec, but did you want to put the PayPal link? Because I see that D'Artagnan put in the Venmo for the US based people, but if the European people want to make PayPal contributions to our GSR.
I had asked to disable the chat while you were talking because it was really distracting. People discussing stuff on the side, and yeah, I can't send the message. The PayPal.
So D'Artagnan, let's enable the chat and let's all take a bio break and we can all chat to our heart's content. And hopefully the chat won't be too filled with controversy by the time we come back.
Thank you. And I'll just say that I was taught to spread the message, not the mess. And perhaps if there's a problem with aligning with what the speaker's saying, maybe message the host only. That's my idea. Thank you. My suggestion.
Thanks, Marilyn. I appreciate you. You've learned a lot in Hollywood. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Anybody help me? I'm from Texas, so I'm an hour later than you guys, or I think Eastern. I think I have time.
Olivia, shall I make an announcement about, I just put some infos in the chat. Oh,
Yes, please, Olivia, please do that.
okay. Yeah. I want to apologize because I should have made an intro and should have introduced Nora as our speaker and workshop leader. I'm the treasurer of the Visions group. We are having a Visions meeting on Saturdays, 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Central European time every week. And we started as a fundraiser to fund me as a GSR to get to the World Service Conference in August, and we were successful to manage that. And now we have grown into a regular meeting, and we're holding regular fundraisers. And among one is the Recovery Castle 3. Now we have the third convention that we're holding there, and we expect about 100 to 100 people coming. We had 70 the last time, 34 at the first time. Maybe some of you know this castle because OA is holding their retreat for 30 years already. So there's, we hope we can raise funds for another GSR to go from this year from the 5th to the 9th of August to San Francisco. And yeah, we need some to pay deposits and Nora is collecting the US donations, and I'm collecting like the European donations in euros with PayPal, and she's got a Venmo account. And feel free to support us if you want to or if you can, but we're not here to raise funds in the first place. We're here to spread the message and to bring the recovery message of DA to the still suffering debtor. And I'm very happy that Nora's so generous to share her experience, strength, and hope with us, especially in Europe at a suitable time for the European fellowships. And we should have done that in the beginning to make sure there was some discussion in the chat about what this workshop is about,
I
and
messed up.
if it's DA or not, but it is definitely DA. We're hosting it, but we're welcoming every other 12-step fellowship. We're also inviting other 12-step groups to our DA conventions and workshops, and because we think we really want to carry the message, and it's a good way to carry the message to other fellowships and back and forth. And that's my personal opinion. If you're not in 3 fellowships, you're in denial. So I can completely agree and identify. I'm also a food addict, and I live on a food plan, and I think it's
Olivia.
not unusual. So maybe we can have this discussion at another place, but this is a DA fundraiser workshop and of a listed.
No, and I think I'm a little hypersensitive right now because I've heard so many things said that are not true, and it makes me really sad and angry. And so I should have been more open-hearted when someone asked a very straightforward, transparent question. And I think I was just so stressed out making sure that we were all ready and, you know, all of the things. So I did not manage my time well before we got here this morning. I had a client ask for a last minute session. You know, I just was doing my best. So I apologize. And I'm still human after 20 years in DA. I'm still not fixed yet. And thank you guys so much for your compassion and your grace. And Olivia, thank you so much for like giving me an opportunity to spread lots of information about ways to work DA that will benefit people and also lead to hopefully like raising money for GSR and the Recovery Castle and all the fun stuff. So Nicole, did you hear what I did? Olivia, did you there's a limit to these fake names. Did you
Don't worry about my anonymity. I'm open about, yeah.
Did you want to you posted your PayPal for European, so we're collecting in two different ways. We're collecting Venmo on my Venmo, and D'Artagnan will post my Venmo, and Olivia, if you want to post your PayPal. So if you're in Europe, it might be easier to give to Olivia's PayPal. In America, you can give to mine. It will all go to this GSR fundraiser. I promise, up and down. Happy to report to you. At the next workshop, we'll tell you how much we raised. I'll actually tell you how much we raised, you know, here, like if any Venmos come in. So let's get back to questions and we'll talk through more spending plan stuff. Are we good? Did everybody enjoy their bio break? Oh, great. Oh, thanks, D'Artagnan. You're perfect. Okay, great. Let's go to our next person. We have Jay for Jump with Joy. Hopefully Jay is back from their bio break. Jay, did you want to ask your question or share? Okay, I'm going to skip Jay for now. Why don't we ask Marilyn Monroe, who I know has been waiting patiently and can't seem to raise their hand. I feel like everyone's still in the bathroom. Marilyn Monroe? No? Okay. How about Sleepy Cheetah? Sleepy Cheetah?
Thanks, Nora. Really happy to be here. Thanks for your service. Yeah, mine's more of just like a basic practical one. With the list of the abundant spending plan, ideal spending plan. So I'm new and I've never heard of like different versions of spending plans. So I was just wondering if you could speak to like, is that like, would somebody still have just one of those kinds, or is it like people have multiple versions? I just don't know how any of that like works together or separately.
That's such a great question, and thank you for asking it. So like usually the first thing people have to do when they first come into DA is just put down on paper, like what is the, you know, what is the information that I have about how I spend money? Like even before they get to spending plan, they have to find out what am I spending my money on? And by the way, that's really painful for a lot of people, and they often like resist doing that for years. Like I've known people who came to DA meetings for years. And like when I met them, they'd been coming to meetings for years, like 10 years, 20 years, and they never wrote down what they spent so that they could then put it together and figure out what do I cost? You know, what does me incorporated cost, right? Mm-hmm. So basically that whole thing is like, please make phone calls and get people to help you and support you as you start writing down even just what it is you're spending money on. And then once you figure out how much you cost each month, right? And how much money comes in each month, you know, from earning or whatever else, right? Whatever other sources. Then the question becomes, well, so like, what do I do if the numbers don't match, right? And again, it's another set of journeys. It can take people months and years just to get the numbers to match, right? Just to get, I spend within my means, right? It can be a very slow process for people. I want it to be fast for everyone, right? Because I want to see everybody become really abundant and joyful, right? But so assuming you've gotten to, okay, I know what I cost. I'm earning more than I cost each month. Now what, right? And then you get to actually say, like, I really would like to take a trip to Paris. You know, I really would like to go to the movies once a month. I really would like to get a manicure once a month, like whatever the things are, right? And then instead of just saying, oh, I'll put it on a credit card, which we don't do, or, oh, I'll hope for a windfall, right? Instead of doing that, you can actually put it into a spending plan. You can say, okay, so what would it look like? Like if I wanted to go to Paris by March 1st of next year, right? How much would I have to how much would I have to save each month to make that a reality, right? And so basically putting down on paper, how much does it cost to have an aspirational Me Incorporated, not just a regular Me Incorporated? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so these are like advanced spending plans for further down the line.
Right. I mean, the shortest, easiest answer is don't worry about it. Just write down your numbers and keep coming back to meetings, you know? But the other stuff is like, if you need like when, as you grow, like it's amazing to me what happens in this program. Like miracles happen in this program, like the tiniest, smallest things. Like you start making 3 live calls a day, you start writing down your numbers, you do a 90 and 90, you start meeting people and you start saying nice things to them, right? I've never met a human in the whole world who, if you say to them, hey, I really like this about you, right? That they're like, you know what? I never liked you anyway. Like people love compliments, right? So you learn a few things. You learn a few things about how to start building your tribe, how to start writing down your numbers, how to start sitting down with people and looking at your numbers so you're not alone with them. And miracles start to happen. And then people like cry and they like fall to their knees and they're like singing and they're like, I believe in God. I believe in God. I never believed before. Now I believe in God. It's amazing, right? And they share at meetings and everything's amazing. And that lasts like 3 days. And then they're like, okay, now this is easy. What's up? What's next? And it's amazing to watch how these miracles come and then they become the new normal. And then people are like, well, what next? Where else do I go? Right? So I would just say have faith, Sleepy Cheetah, that right now just work for your near-term miracles, you know, and then be amazed that your near-term miracles are turning into new normal. And then there's more stuff waiting for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm gonna check back in with Jay. Jay, are you back? No? Okay, let's go to Seren.
Hello.
Hi, Seren.
Hi.
Thanks so much for
Hi.
your camera.
Thank
Nice to see
you.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good what you're doing. I feel like you're bringing a depth and an expansion and a new way of bringing language, which I personally find really already. I'm like, the analogies you're making between food, body, and money is just, yeah, brilliant. So thank you so much for what you're sharing. Mine's just a really practical question. When we kind of like click on the Google Doc,
Yeah.
and then it comes up
Oh,
like, for
yeah.
example, it's
Did I do
cover
it wrong? I'm
No,
sorry.
you didn't. You didn't do it wrong. No. Honestly, you didn't do anything wrong at all. It's me asking a question about, when it goes into your Google, like, is that me? Have I saved it then? Maybe.
I don't know. I think there's a thing where you can like do a save as.
You have to make a copy.
Oh,
So I have
yeah.
to make a copy.
Is that Superman? Superman, you want to tell him how to do it?
Superman, I'm all ears, Superman. I've just clicked on it. I'm in my Google now. So I make a copy.
Well, first you give thanks to your higher power.
Thank you, higher power.
There you go. And then you cruise over to that what's it called? The menu, no, file. You go to file and you click that and it drops down a whole list of things. And the fourth one down says make a copy. And then when you make a copy, don't just say copy of, say, splashing full of joy or whatever, or your personal name or,
Okay, got it.
Because copy is such a boring word. So personalize it microscopically, and then you save that to yourself, and that's now in your Google Drive.
Right.
And then you celebrate again to your higher power, and maybe do an outreach call, and then read.
Then we're sorted.
some literature and DA, and then go back to patting yourself on the back and giving yourself grace. That kind of
I
shit.
thought it was Superman. It's actually Popeye the Sailor Man. Popeye the Sailor Man, you're
That's so
fabulous. Thank you so
cool.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
That's me sorted. I really appreciate you
That
both.
gets you
Thank you.
sorted.
Bye.
That gets you sorted. Thank you so much. That was cool. I got to like share my screen and say, oh, let's file, make a copy. Okay. I think next we have C. We have there's two C's, but there's one C who has this beautiful blonde hair. She looks like Supergirl. We have all these, hi C, how's it going?
Hi, Nora. Thank you so much. Thank you for, so grateful. Couple questions. Everything you're describing in terms of the structure of DA sounds very much like DA How, which is a program I worked.
Yep. I know DA How. It's not what I started. I started something called the No Matter What Action Group, and then we called it the Showing Up Action Group, and then there were all these offshoots. But yeah.
Okay. I found that, and I've talked to others, I got triggered, was really abusive. I mean, the platform for it is phenomenal. And I hear everything you're saying. You can feel the miracles happening. I did that for 2 years, but it really was abusive in my experience. Others.
I'm honored and incredibly grateful that you said it so I didn't have to. I don't ever want to say out loud that people who are doing their best to try to carry the message in this program are making a lot of mistakes. and I do think the people of DAPS are a lot warmer than a lot of the programs. Here's what I want to tell you. The reason I left the Showing Up Action Group was not that it was not working. It's that someone from that group called me and told me he was planning to kill me at a Showing Up Action Group convention. So, and you know, we are very sick people in this fellowship. You know, we're very wounded. And when I called someone who was a very high level in like among the founding whatever of the Showing Up Action Group, I don't want to give too many details because I'm not trying to gossip. What I am trying to do is say, when we're trying to figure out how to help people, it's very easy to go from helping to controlling, from rigor to rigidity, from discipline to deprivation to punishment, to rage, to anger, to abuse. It's just so easy. It's like a slippery slope. And I'm guilty of it too. I remember when I would have these people who would call me and I'd tell them what to do and then they wouldn't do it. And then I'd be like, okay, like I can't fix you. You know, you're gonna have to do it. Like this is those early years of being a tiny 27-year-old in Debtors Anonymous is what got me to go find out the other stuff that I write about in my book about trauma and freeze and the things that were actually, you know, afflicted by the software that got downloaded into our bodies without our permission that keeps people coming to DA meetings for 20 years and never writing down their numbers. These are not broken people. They are people with software that taught them, if you write down your numbers, you will die. And it took me a really long time to find out and figure out what it was that was showing up inside of people's bodies that made them think that writing down numbers would make them die.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm sorry. That's profound. I'm getting chills right now.
I have more to say, but I also want to let you talk because I can talk too long. So I want to hear more about what you have to say. So go ahead.
Well, that's that. I'm looking for, you know, as you're saying this, I'm realizing how kept coming up for me. And I was like, no, I'm not going back there. But what options do we actually have for the same structure?
Yeah, well, I think DAPS is pretty great. I think the people running DAPS are super sweet, you know. I have heard people say different things. I have heard people say, "Oh, my sponsor fired me because I was late to my call," or my sponsor, you know, told me she was mad, you know, told me I did it wrong because I read my time first and then my money, you know. And that's another reason that I really want people to think, to contemplate, you know, far be it from me to tell others who are successfully helping others in DA and people are happy about it, right? Far be it from me to tell them you're doing it wrong, right? If it's working, if somebody's getting better, woohoo, great. But maybe I have a selection bias or they have a selection bias with me. Like maybe they come to me and maybe all the complainers come to me. I don't know. But I have a lot of people who've come to me over the years and said, I need room to be imperfect. And this feels like we're taking something rigorous and inspiring and turning it into perfectionism.
Yeah. Can I ask, what are you doing now?
So, I mean, I will just be honest with you. I do track my numbers. I do track my time. I do not track my time as precisely as I once did. I can tell you many stories about my early time tracking and how that changed me as a human being. I turned over my money before I spent it every single day for 5 years. I started doing it on December 1st of 2007. Maybe I did every single day for 6 years. I forget when I stopped doing it. It might have been 2013 or 2012. I don't remember anymore. I left Showing Up Action Group in 2010. And the reason I left was not that I wanted to leave. The reason I left was that when I called the person I called to tell that person that someone had threatened to kill me at the convention we were going to have, and actually he said he wasn't going to do it, but he was like making amends by confessing that he had been planning to, which was like, it was better than being threatened, but it was terrifying to know that he had almost gone through with it, right? And what the person I called to sort of share this very vulnerable thing and this terrifying thing said to me, well, you caused it and you have to look at your part. And when I went to the next Showing Up Action Group meeting, my body couldn't stop shaking. So I just had to stop, and it broke my heart. I didn't want to stop. You know, I had been the person with the longest day count. I had been the person who had led the Showing Up Action Group meetings the most times by a lot, because the other two founders kept losing their solvency. And so they would lose their day counts. And for whatever reason, it made sense in my head that we were doing it for our health and our well-being, and not as like a beat up job, like not the kneel in peas stuff, you know? And so I was always tell people, like, you're doing this to get support, you need support. You can't do it alone. But it just, my voice wasn't loud enough compared to everyone else's voices that would just get really twisted up in the perfectionism.
Got it. So I would love to share this with you and with the group. I found the writing so profound. That's where I felt the miracles were happening. That every day that I wrote and I gave it over to my sponsor, and my understanding of the Showing Up Action Group was that they took the writing out and it was just numbers. And
I think writing is really important. I've done lots and lots of how programs. I've done SLA how, I've done, I love structure, I just don't think that, like, I don't preach you guys have to have a rigid structure. I preach build your structure. Do the writing every day. That's great. I love the writing. I did step writing every morning when I was trying to save my marriage in SLA how. I just knew, I was like, if I just write 3 pages every morning, my husband will not leave me. He left me anyway, but it was wonderful. And I learned so much about my crazy, like God didn't save the marriage, but God saved Nora, So, I love the writing. I love writing. OA. There's no OA recovery. There's no food recovery without writing for a lot of people, including me, right? Writing is a tool in Overeaters Anonymous, right? Like, it's actually a tool, like the way tracking numbers is a tool in DA. So yeah, writing is great. There's different people who are doing different things in different structures. My whole thing is like, can we let people be in structure without making the structure be the thing where if you do it a little bit off, now you're a bad girl or a bad boy,
right?
Or a bad non-binary person, that part is the dangerous part, because we are trauma survivors and we've been taught you're either virtue or sin. You're never just human, And I can't tell DA people to be sinners. I can't tell them that they've been sinning. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the distinction is, I helped to start the Basic Recovery meeting in UA, and there's something that it's not just any writing. I think the writing was taking me back to the founding members of AA and translating it into my DA disease that gave me a profound, opening and understanding of that. So I hear what you're saying. I'm not suggesting that. I think the rigidity is the issue, right?
It's very hard. And also like what do you do when someone says like, I made a plan not to buy any cigarettes? Like that's an obvious one. We all think that's a bad idea, right? And then they call you the next day and they report their spending, and at least they're honest, and they tell you, well, I made a money change and I bought cigarettes, right? And what if they do that every day for a year? At what point do you as a sponsor go, dude, what the hell are you thinking? That being said, I got really lucky because I have a lot of love, but I tend to be pretty impatient. So I would get impatient with people. I tried so hard to be a good, no matter what, sponsor and showing up action group sponsor. But I would be like, okay, you didn't do it. That's okay. Like I wouldn't be mean about them not doing it. I would just be like, okay, so you want to try for tomorrow? And then I'd take their calls over and over and over, and I'd be like at a certain point, I'd lose my patience, and I'd be like, if you want what I have, do what I do, and that's when they would curse me out and hang up on me,
Right.
And I think that part of me, I mean, like I'm a human, I have flaws, like that part of me is still there. I want to believe it's less. And I am so grateful for the people who hung up on me and cursed me out. Being cursed out is so much better than than being told you're going to get murdered. Please curse me out any day of the week, right? But it was really interesting. I was like, that's really important immediate feedback. And what it taught me to do slowly in this program is it taught me to say to people, I am not your higher power and I do not know what's best for you. And so here's all these tools I can offer you. Here's all these things I've done. What I have found is that things for me, like I have a lot of friends that came in with me, I said this already, and eventually left. Or they came in after me, got better and left. And are they sick again now? Are they fine? I don't know. Some of them are, some of them aren't, some of them came back after many years, right? So I don't know what the answers are. I just know that for me, I'm too scared that I'll end up homeless to leave. Also, I don't want to leave. I believe that we are the people who can make abundance possible for like the whole world,
Absolutely.
So
what question I'm
just
sorry.
One more thing on this, and then we'll get to your question, and then we'll go on to other people. So the thing that I've learned is I say to people, I don't know what your higher power wants for you. And so then I can give them all these different structure options, but I can't, and that's why I teach the thing about the trauma stuff and the 14 caregivers and everything else, because I want people to understand what their true deep stuff really is, because I think that's the part we don't talk about enough. Anyway, go ahead. Last question from you.
Thank you. I will say, to support what you're saying, boundaries are essential. Abuse is not. And I think that's a distinction. We have to have boundaries, right? My question is your spending plan. It looks like the numbers one approach from DA.
I don't know. Some guy gave it to me in 2007, and then I just started adapting it. So maybe the numbers one people adapted it from his idea, or maybe I've sent out that spending plan to so many people. Maybe somebody took it and brought it to numbers one. I don't know. It's not, I've messed with it over the years, but I don't want to say that guy's name out loud, other than because I don't want to break anonymity. But if I could say his name out loud, I'd be like, thanks so much, guy who sent me that spreadsheet in 2007,
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you. There's another person with a C who has a sunset as their photo. Do you want to ask a question or talk? C with a sunset? Going once, going twice?
Are you talking about Carol B? I don't
know, sweetie. Your name is C with a sunset.
All right. You
are talking, and I think it's you, so go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Nora. One thing I got out, I came in late. I had some out of town guests. But anyway, the one thing I heard when I first came in right before the break that impressed me was how, I don't know if you said it, but you make it sounds spiritual. Like this whole money thing is spiritual. It's not just, it's more spiritual than it is numbers, or maybe that's the same thing. The other thing is, I've heard that noise in my head before. I was given, like in 2016, I was asked to take over a business that the person was going bankrupt. And all night I heard that noise in my head. And I listened to that. Well, I looked outside. I thought it was a siren outside of my home. But anyway, I said no, and the noise went away. The question I have is on the spending plan. I had my third PRG yesterday. And the first one, we did a fact sheet, a financial fact sheet, what I earned and listing all the things that I was aware of. Because within the week, I had to add a couple more things I was aware of that I had to pay. And then I came out with an overage. And my idea of a spending plan was that overage is money I can spend. No, it's not. And I'm finding that out now. And I didn't know, I have the numbers spreadsheet, and I didn't know, and I think this was the last thing you said before we went on a bio break, that you did the thing about groceries, and that middle column between total and difference is where you put your spending plan. Because when we were talking about the spending plan yesterday, I was totally, again, in a fog. Again, like I've been in and out of fogs for the last 2 years in DA. So I'm finally up to date with my numbers, but I still didn't understand the spending plan, which is why I'm here. So when you said that you figured you would spend $2,000 on groceries, then that total aisle, which is before the spending, is where you can subtract from the 200 as to how much you have left for groceries.
That's right. You could I didn't have time. I was a little bit rushing at the end because my schedule got a little funky. This is why even the scheduled workshops I get is, it's hard to get all the materials ready in time. A lot of ways I've done it is I have the total, I have the plan, and then I have the difference, and you do the plan minus the total, and then you see how much is left. Yeah.
Right. Now, to come up with the plan, do you go over the last 3 months and get an average, or how do you decide what you're going to be spending?
These are the questions everyone has. What should my actual number be? I don't even know. Oh my God, right? Someone said to me early on in my DA recovery, someone wonderful who is still alive, but very, 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 very advanced in age. And I'm so grateful to her. I think when I came in, she was in her 60s. And she'd already been in for 30 years. She said, Nora, abundance means you always have a little extra. So basically, sure, you could do the average across the three. And I talk about this in the book I wrote about, like how to figure out what should my grocery plan even be. But I like to say, as long as I didn't like put in my grocery category that I like the $500 I spent buying food for my son's party, right? My son's birthday, right? As long as I didn't put that in my grocery category, then I will take the top number of groceries across those 3 months and I will go above it. So if it's 1,200, 1,400, 1,500, I will go above it. I will say 1,600 is my grocery category, because abundance means having a little extra.
Great. Last question. On January, I had a $767 grocery bill total. In February, I had a $530 some dollars. Here's the question. I don't know where, like if I add up all the places and put it in the same date, I can't tell whether those are groceries I bought for my daughter who just got separated. So how do you do that? How do you separate who you're spending on? Should I put the money I spend in groceries for someone else in a gifts category, or what?
The answer to your question is that everyone does it differently.
Okay.
I think, the money I spent on my son's birthday party, for his ice skating birthday party, the money I might spend, like taking someone out to dinner, or I don't have adult children yet, but so when I buy groceries, I assume my children are going to be eating them, right? Because they live with me. But then when you're talking about groceries you buy for your daughter, I will say, my friend, that, and I'm intentionally not using your real name because this is all going to be recorded on YouTube. So I would love to use your name, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to call you C, okay?
Okay.
I would say, because money is the substance of codependency, because the vast majority of DA people I know overspend more on trying to please or impress or control other people than any other thing. Like the vast majority of overspending is usually, I'm trying to impress someone. I want to have status. I want to make them like me. I'm going to buy their friendship. I'm going to buy their love. Or it could be just, I want to do something as her mother and she's important to me. But because I don't always know the difference, right? What's the difference between healthy hunger, like the hunger that tells me my stomach needs nourishment, and the hunger that tells me I'm having emotional issues? I don't know the difference. I will never fully know the difference, which is why I weigh and measure my food. So I don't know the difference every time when I buy somebody something. So I put it in separate categories so at least I can track it.
See it. Yes.
And then
Yes.
I bring people, because people in this program are God with skin on, right? Now, God with skin on doesn't always like Emily Bronte here, who I love, right? Let's say Emily Bronte is looking at my numbers and she's like, Nora, you spend too much on your children. You should stop feeding them, right? Emily Bronte would never say that. Maybe the real Emily Bronte would say that, because I just read an article about her that she's kind of awful. She, but I do idolize her as a literary heroine. Anyway, the person who is being called Emily Bronte would never tell me not to feed my children. But if I'm sitting there hearing someone say, I think you should spend less money on food for your kids, and definitely make them go to bed hungry if they don't eat the cheaper food you're going to buy for them, right? If they said that to me, I might say, well, thank you so much for your feedback out loud. But on the inside, I might say, oh my God, that is 100% the opposite of what I am going to do. And then I've heard God. God has spoken to me. God has skin on. It's just that I've heard God in a little bit of a sideways way,
Very practical. You are the best. Thank you so much.
I'm not the best, but I love helping people recover. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Sunshine on My Shoulders.
Did Popeye want to say something?
I just wanted to say that I had my hand up earlier, and then when I shared about how to save a copy, somehow my hand got put down.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Popeye. Go ahead.
just-
It's fine. I think the
wanna be
hands are all a mess.
A gentle person.
Do you want
Sharing.
to?
Yeah, I have a topic.
Yeah, go ahead, Popeye. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Well, and first, thanks to everybody here for being a part of this momentous event. What a wonderful thing. All right, and then I'd like to say I'm new. My birthday in DA is January 8th, 2026, and I've got a home group, and I just did my step 2 with my sponsor yesterday, and I go and I do things, and I serve, and I'm reading the literature, and I I'm a collector of find gold stars. Like, I collect attaboys. And go team, and so people told me, like, here, track your numbers. You can do it 73 different ways, and there's apps, and there's this and there's that. And I just thought, you know what, like, I'm gonna color inside the lines here, and I'm gonna download the spreadsheet from the DA website, and I'm just gonna do it in there. And I've done one PRG off of that, and I've got another one scheduled for like 2 hours and 14 minutes from now with lovely people, and I'm so grateful. But I feel like I got started 2 months into a spreadsheet that, like, isn't quite as subtle and nuanced and, like, tuned in as the one that I've now learned about today. And I wonder if there's some coaching and guidance on porting over from the one to the other so that it doesn't feel like dental work. I I'm psyched, right? Like I'm a play ball kind of guy. I also want to have free time and goof off and play, and I don't want to be like sitting and doing data transfer of cells from this Google sheet to that Google sheet, and is there an easy way for those of us
Sure.
that
So
want to
yeah,
ask
so
long
let me
questions?
just
Yeah, jump
yeah,
in.
so there's a couple of things. And sunshine on my shoulders, you keep like I thought you wanted to go. So will you promise me, sunshine on my shoulders, that you'll be ready to be the next person who talks after we're done with Popeye the Sailor Man? Because I felt like you were in and you were out and I got really confused and I just want to make sure I don't like leave you out, okay? Because I know that you got it was like your hand went down and don't worry, Emily Bronte, you'll be after sunshine. So Popeye. The first thing you need to know about Debtors Anonymous is that there is no graduation date and grades are not due. Okay? And anybody who tells you you're doing it wrong, like this is for all of us. This is for me. This is for everyone on here because I know some of you have sponsors and some of you are sponsors. And, if you tell your peeps like you're doing it wrong, this is wrong, it shouldn't look this way, it shouldn't be this way, that's a yellow flag because no one is the authority here. I'm not the authority. I just want to help people. And like if I get mad when I hear someone say to another person in DA, you're doing it wrong. It only works this way. Meh, 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 meh. And I'm like, like that's when I think they're doing it wrong, right? But let's say I'm not allowed to tell anyone they're doing it wrong. So I'll just say it's a yellow flag for me, right? So if there's no way to do it wrong, what if you could just start a new spreadsheet? Like what if you're not like compiling a perfect record so that you then take that record and show it to the historians who are going to write books about you in 100 years? Like what if you don't have to worry so much about that? Like from my own life, I can tell you I did come into DA on July 2nd, 2006, and I did meet this like really scruffy musician dude there at my first meeting when I was like, brand new. And he came up to me and I think he was a newcomer greeter, maybe. I don't even know. He just said, welcome. This program is amazing. I'm a musician and I make all my income in my vision and I'm solvent many years. And I said, okay, you just told me something that's impossible. I know that no musician is ever solvent. Like I know that for a fact because my dad was a pianist and and he was never solvent. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And he said, just keep your numbers and keep coming to meetings and all the rest will come. And I said, okay, I can do that. And I could. I could write down numbers when I came in, which not everyone can do. It took me a while to learn that not everyone could do it, right? And then I wrote a book about how so many of us can't do it, right? So I wrote down my numbers and then maybe 3 weeks later, I started putting them into like a very basic, I think it was a Microsoft Word document. And then I was like adding them up in a calculator, And when the person who gave me that, like the version of the spending plan, monthly, whatever record that I gave all of you, the person who gave me his earlier version of that, which I've changed and added colors to and whatever, when he gave that to me, I said, it was some summertime of 07. And I just said, I'm not gonna try to capture all of the stuff from 06 and early 07 to put it into this. I'm just gonna start fresh with this new way of doing it. And that is what I did. And I still use, I have like a larger spending tracker over months and years. And it goes all the way back to like July of 07. But it doesn't go back to June. It doesn't go back to July of 06 when I came in. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to have it be perfect. If you want to spend time porting in the numbers, you can, or you can just start over. Today's March 1st. It's the perfect day to start a new type of spending plan. I didn't realize that when we picked today, but here you are, Does that make sense, Popeye?
Yeah, and that feels fun and like freeing, and I appreciate that, right? Like there's a kind of a, let's have some fun, right? And then you kind of just mentioned like you've got another spreadsheet that adds up over time. I actually found myself joining DA, having just analyzed all my numbers for my CPA and for this friend of mine that was like, you're going through a divorce, you need to figure out your numbers. And so I did it, with a spreadsheet because I'm good at stuff on spreadsheets, and why the hell not? But then I realized like, oh, spiritual first, and categories, recommendations, play ball. And now there's this like try something else thing. I actually found that other spreadsheet was annoying because I had just done my numbers for November and December, but that spreadsheet is built with the functionality of January to December, and the way that it tabulates up and has all the different tabs on the bottom and then the averages and so forth. And so what I'm hearing and seeing in your head nods is that spreadsheets are fun and you can do stuff and you can create formulas and you can color code them and you can add numbers in places and sum them up. And like there's a little bit of learn to crawl, learn to stand up, learn to toddle around and run into shit, and then start to learn to walk. And like that as we grow and develop, like it kind of doesn't fucking matter. Sorry, YouTube.
We love you, gods of free video.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I guess I'm just embracing that, like, perfection is the enemy of the good, right? Like that we're
Perfection is
talking
the enemy of
about
recovery.
spreadsheets. Yeah,
Perfection is the
appreciate
enemy
it.
of recovery. You want to have
All right.
more money and be happier and joyful? You know what? Perfectionism is going to torture you out of that.
I really love like a thorough and robust spreadsheet, and I'm definitely here for the long game. Like I feel like I've had a lot of years of like suffering, and I'm catching that like I do 5 programs vibe, with a little bit of a maybe I'll throw a 6th in for good measure. And I'm enjoying it, right? Like I have the elbow room to study this stuff, to do the outreach calls, to do all the, I'm on the field here. And I want a robust and thorough spreadsheet, and I don't necessarily want to build it from scratch, and I don't want to, be hamstrung by the limitations. I found broken formulas on the one that I was using from the website, like so it came from the website and it was an imperfect spreadsheet, just like here you go, enjoy your Thursday, like and then here you've given me one that's like one tab, and I think there's like this kind of simplicity of it, like okay, go forth and conquer, like you've got future days ahead of you. And I'll close with this remark. I had a lovely fellow do a PRG with me, a proper gentleman from New York City, and a lovely lady. And the gentleman said to me, I always do my tracking of numbers from today and work backwards. And that gave me permission to not somehow feel like I needed to do some weird backlog catch-up thing. He just kind of always said, yeah, let's just do today's number. And then if you've got, the elbow room, like grab yesterday and then the day before. But like just, you're good. I'll just close with that, and I'll say thank you, Nora, for nodding your head a couple times and smiling while I'm talking. And over to the next questions.
You got it.
Sunshine on
Okay.
my shoulders. Don't forget.
Sunshine on my shoulder. Are you ready? All right, let's unmute. I'm worried
I'm
that
going to speak up a minute. I'm Jay with the Sunset, and I've been like had my hand raised from like the minute you started opening up.
I
And
called
I
on
don't
you.
know why I
Jay,
never got called on.
I
Jay,
called on you several times and you
you
didn't
called
answer.
on C.
No, I
never
called
heard
on
you
you.
call me.
I called on you
God,
before
I
C.
apologize, honey. I owe
called on
a
you
big
several times and you
apology.
didn't answer. I was like, wait,
you.
maybe Jay is
Sorry,
still in the
honey.
bathroom. I don't know where Jay is.
Oh my God, I owe you an apology. It's my
It's
bad.
okay.
All right, honey. I hope you could call on me. Thank you.
I will. Raise your hand. Okay, go ahead, Sunshine on my
Oh, I
shoulder.
thought it was up. Okay.
It's not.
Okay, thank you so much.
No
Bye.
worries. Go ahead, Sunshine on my shoulder. There she is.
Thanks for this. It's lovely to see you again. Questions for you. I have money automatically withdrawn from my paycheck to make it tax-free or pre-tax or whatever when I pay for medical stuff.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's called
HSA.
HSA.
Yep.
Where might I record that? Because it's not actually income, but I definitely want to record all the therapy I'm receiving because that's what it costs to keep me.
Yeah, I would record the costs of the HSA in the same spending plan, but I might create a different like categorization of those costs, right? I might say HSA specific costs, right? Like, did you see in the spending plan I have, it says medical? You could change, you could save a copy and then it says medical and then put a parentheses, HSA costs only. And I'm pretty sure I remember from a long time ago when I was a corporate, I mean, I was a corporate worker a long time ago, but I did have one of those HSA cards. And I remember very vividly that I used the HSA card to pay for like medical visits and, you know, eyeglasses and things like that, but also for like contact solution from the drugstore. Like you could buy certain kinds of supplies with the HSA. So like make sure you put all of that in the thing and you just put it in there. And then it's all trackable. Like it all can be tracked. There's no wrong way to track it. It's, you know, you're just asking me what's Nora's opinion. I'm giving you Nora's opinion, you know?
Thank you. And what about gift cards? When I use a Starbucks gift card to buy Starbucks, should I be?
Interesting thing. I think there are some people, I know what you're asking. I think there are some people who would say you don't have to record that because it's like money someone gave you and then you just pass it on, right? Like, oh, thanks, here you go. But I think it might be interesting to record the gift card as not as income, but as like surprises or cash delight or something, you know, because like you don't have to record a gift card as income. But then maybe there's like I mean, I wouldn't get too crazy about it. If it's not your money buying you the Starbucks, honestly, like it's hard to know. I do like to track if there is groceries that I'm buying with like a gift card from somebody because I get these, like I've gotten Whole Foods gift cards from people before, which was very sweet of them. So when I do that, like I like to track that's how much of my life costs, even though I'm using a gift card to pay for it, you know? So yeah, if you want to make sure you're tracking, like I don't have PRG people poring over my numbers and being like, what can we cut out so that Nora has enough? Like Nora has enough, Nora's good, you know? Like I show people my numbers in PRGs. I'm like, here you go. Okay, cool. Let's talk about my pressures because my numbers are not pressure, you know? So like, if you have people looking at your numbers right now and going, what can we help Sunshine on My Shoulder to do? Oh gosh, then you might want to track it carefully and specifically and just say, you know, gift card in, coffee out, you know, and like, or whatever the gift card items are, just so that people can see, here's what, like she likes to drink coffee and she's only able to afford it because she's got these gift cards. Like if the numbers are so tight. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Emily Bronte, go ahead.
Hey, Nora. First of all, thank you for your workshop. I'm wondering about this. Have you ever been, when you were already into recovery, been still at a point of desperation that you were thinking of going back to doing the things that you were doing when you were in desperation?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Like many times. So first of all, if somebody tells me, I think I want to turn over my money before I spend it, I'm like, go for it. Have a great time. I didn't stop doing it because it's a bad idea. It changed me as a human being, and it did not change me in one day. It had a massive impact on me on one day, but it changed me over the course of doing it every day with no exceptions, with no deprioritizing of it. I prioritized it above everything else in my life. And I majored that and the food recovery. I did not spend money without turning it over for 5 straight years without any breaks. I took no breaks. Okay. I considered taking a break here and there. And then I was like, oh, screw it. Okay. I got to turn over $30 on passport fees, you know? So, so what do I want to tell you about that? The thing about recovery is if you do stuff over and over and over and over every day for years, it does change you as a human being. And if for some reason you have a backslide, it's totally great to do some of that stuff again. I know people who gave up on the Showing Up Action group and now they're in DAPS and they're delighted. They're so happy. They're like, why did I ever leave? And I'm like,
Oh, what I mean is, like, okay, I'm going to turn off the camera for a moment because I don't really want to say this in camera. I used to be in prostitution.
Did you say prostitution?
Yeah, and I am in that, and a part of me thinks of going back to that, partially because I have some debts I really need to pay now, and yeah, and it's not really a backslide. It's not that I had those debts before, or that I made debts, new debts. There is a new debt.
Emily, I really appreciate what you're saying because you're not asking me if I've ever been willing to do extra rigorous work as part of my recovery at different times. What you're asking me is what happens when my brain gets so desperate that I want to do something that's going to be harmful to me because I'm so worried. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
So the first thing I want to tell you is I had a sponsee about 7 years ago who struggled with actually she struggled with going back and forth with prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
And she struggled to even admit to me that she was doing that, you know? And when she did admit it to me, I said, I am never going to judge you for any part of your behavior. We are not here to judge each other. And I have and she wasn't the first person I had known. I had known people in 12-step recovery who had stories where prostitution was part of their story, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady was in Debtors Anonymous and she was struggling with a lot of problems. She had a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and she was able to get work as a massage therapist. And of course, she earned more when, and she said, I really want to stop. I know it's bad for me. I know it's bad for my children. I know it's bad for everyone. But I'm so desperate and I'm so scared. And I'm having a really hard time knowing how to stop. And I said, you are a woman of dignity and honor. And God made you to earn money in honorable, dignified ways that are for you to use your talents and your gifts and not to harm yourself. And in this program, we have to be willing to go to any lengths and to get uncomfortable. And oftentimes, we as trauma survivors, because I really believe everyone in Debtors Anonymous is a trauma survivor. And, oh God, I'm going to cry. We as trauma survivors, we don't always know the difference between unsafe and uncomfortable. And I've been saying this line, like, hi, God, thanks for reminding me. I've been saying this line in some anger and resentment this week because I was so mad that some people kicked me out of their DA meetings without ever telling me anything, and I was like, they think they're unsafe. They're just uncomfortable. People in DA were uncomfortable with me long before I wrote a stupid book. Just tell me what the rules are and I'll follow them, right? And I was like, they just need to learn the difference between unsafe and uncomfortable. Me. But we also don't know the difference between uncomfortable and unsafe.
Yeah.
And so I think that learning what is safe, what is dignity, how do I take good care of myself? Not how do I take good care of myself by getting a manicure, by spending compulsively, by eating a donut, right? How do I take good care of myself at the deep core of my being? These, and you guys, some of you have been with me. We did all 12 steps around money and earning and trauma and debt on February 14th. We're going to do that again on March 21st. When we do that, we fire a higher power who wants us to hurt ourselves in order to earn money, right? To be unsafe in order to earn money, right?
Yeah.
We fire that higher power. And we say, I have to have a higher power who wants me to earn money in honorable ways that make me feel like I'm taking good care of myself. Now, honorable does not mean comfortable. In fact, in order to earn money after being, stuck in the deep, abyss of under earning, probably you're going to have to get uncomfortable. But I'd rather that you call me and tell me that you're uncomfortable, but showing up, and that you're talking yourself and talking your nervous system through it, and getting on the phone and talking to people on the phone. You know how obsessive I am about telling everybody outreach, 3 calls a day, 3 calls a day, 3 calls a day, get on the phone, right? I knew a guy, he's a rock star now, and he came into DA before I did. And I loved his stories, because his stories were always like, he worked at this low level as like a secretary in the bank, and he would call people on his way into work and he'd say, I'm quitting my job today. I hate my job. I hate this job. I hate it. I want to be out on the road playing music. I hate my job. I hate my job. And they'd say, thank you for sharing. Just go in for today. Just do today. And so he was uncomfortable. He was not unsafe. And he got solvent that way. And within about 2 years of being in that job and staying solvent and being awesome with like showing up for recovery and everything, he started getting gigs that took him out on the road again. And like, but it took a lot of discomfort. It took a lot of showing up. And all we can do is ask for help. We need, as Lemon Tree was saying, we need that crew. We need that crew desperately. And you got to go find them. And that's what I talk about with the 3 calls a day. You got to interview people. Give them 1 minute. If you don't like them after 1 minute, get off the phone. Say, oh, someone's at the door. Got to go. Right? If you like them after 1 minute, give them another minute. If you like them after 2 minutes, give them another minute. Or do a 3-3 and know that it ends after the 3-3, and just keep interviewing. You've got to call people and say, I'm really uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyway. We have to learn how to show up for discomfort, not self-harm. Thank you, Emily Bronte. I feel like there should be a new chapter in your biography now. Wonder Woman, you ready? You've been waiting so patiently, all of you in the back. We got Wonder Woman, Lemon Tree, Sleepy Cheetah, Cali Girl. I think we finally have Jay and Maria. Wonder Woman, calling out once, calling out twice.
No.
Hopefully. Oh, there she is.
I have 2 comments. I was just looking at something that's not related to DA, but related to what's going on in the world. Anyway, one thing that keeps me, it's hard for me to develop a prudent reserve. I say that it's called an emergency fund. That triggers something in my head that I need it. Prudent reserve is kind of, for me, a euphemism for emergency fund. In my hood, in my neighborhood, they call it an emergency fund. I hardly know anybody who says, oh, I got a prudent reserve now. And I'm not making fun of the idea. But for me, it's got to be that emergency fund. 3 months of salary, whatever. But I find that if I think of something that I really want, I remember the time that I wanted a clarinet, my own clarinet, not the one that the school gave out. I wanted my own. I went into the pawn shop, and it was $105. I had gotten my job.
Wonder Woman, I'm so sorry. I got to stop you. We don't need a whole story about a craving.
I'm not.
So help me understand. What is the question? Can you help me understand the question?
I have to ask you a question. I have to ask you a question about how to develop and save Well, everybody else told stories. That's not fair. I will say that's not fair. But I will ask you a specific question because you're running out of time. But my question is this: how do you develop an emergency fund? And now I don't even want to answer it. Just because I'm at the end, you don't really want to hear my question. It wasn't
No,
a
I
question.
do want to hear your question.
Okay.
My
How do you
problem is that I'm
develop?
running out of
Hold on.
time.
I know, but how do you develop an emergency fund when you live on a fixed income? Meaning that I get SSDI, and I get a certain amount every month. Right now, I have $62 left for March. And I'm thinking and I did my spending plan, and it says $62 is what I have left for March. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, here's my question. So what would you do? I don't know. I don't feel like I finished my question, but go ahead.
So I will tell you the reason that I felt like I wanted to cut you off before we got to the pawn shop thing. It felt like listening to a food addict talk about, I'm going to go eat some ice cream. So
it was related to the pawn shop. I need to have something to save towards. Like,
okay.
That's what it was.
I'm sorry. I got confused. Okay.
I need to have something to save towards. If I
Okay.
save over, that's cool. Like right now, I love, I've always, well, not always, I really love ceramic dowels, really good dowels, like $250 dowels. So if I save towards that and I happen to get over it, that's going to go to my food and reserve. You were talking about traveling, and yeah, so how to, right now for the month of March, I've got $62 left. And and I have a mobility disability. I can work at home. I do have this is one thing that's interesting. I do have a license in mental health counseling. And you talked about that trauma. I can't wait to read your book, because every time there are times when I get in conversations or I get on a DA group, I won't tell you which one, and I think in my head, oh boy, they've got, not judgmentally, but I said that person has got some trauma. Or
Yeah, I think we
reach
all have
out
it.
to someone,
I think we all have
and
it.
I think, oh, they've got some
So the
trauma.
thing,
But anyway, go ahead.
You said something very early on about prudent reserve emergency fund, and then you were saying something like, when I have the emergency fund, that's when I want to spend it. It was like very early in what you were saying, and it was so
Yeah.
It was so important.
Like my friends, if I said prudent reserve, they look at me and go, "What?"
That's not what I'm talking. It's about your feeling about it. It's like, that's my money and I'm gonna spend it. Something like that.
No. It's like I've got to have something to save towards in terms of an emergency fund. The idea of 3 months. I'm not a rigid person. That's why I can't do debts. But getting back to they say 3 months you should have 3 months savings. I understand that, definitely, because if my water goes out, my electricity goes out, or something like that, I've got something that I can pull from. It's an emergency fund that I have an emergency. But prudent reserve, I just don't relate to that, and I wonder, and I don't know why. It just sounds like a euphemism for the idea of having an emergency fund. And there really wasn't a question there. There was kind of a statement, I think, there. And I'd rather so you can move on. And I'm just making this statement for me that it's better, and I think it's good for me. I've got $62 left, and I'm going to see if it really managed out, because a lot of times I go over. So $62, let me see what I do with it. So that's my play money for the month of March. Maybe I'll go to a play.
I think what I'm hearing is a couple of things. Number one is, you are saying it makes sense. I mean, I think what you're saying is, I want to call the names of my accounts whatever I want to call them. And I completely support you on that, Wonder Woman. I want you to call it whatever the heck you want to call it. Whatever the heaven you want to call it. I want you to call it that. I want you to call it the emergency fund. I want you to call it.
You sound like my sponsor. So
go ahead. What'd you say?
You sound like my sponsor.
Yeah.
I was going to do how, and she said, I can't do a call a day. And I said, okay, so maybe I won't do how. So but maybe I'll find somebody else.
So
but go ahead.
What I think I want to say, though, the thing that I keep catching, even though it's not in your question or your statement, is I keep catching the fact that, like, there's this like thing about like, well, how do I use it to make me feel good? Like, how do I spend so I can make me feel good? And I want to say, hey, bud, when we come into DA thinking that spending is supposed to make us feel good, the reason we think spending is supposed to make us feel good is that we have been horrifically deprived of the emotional love and support we deserve. Because feeling good as humans requires a lot of love and sweetness and care and joy and funniness and connection with other humans.
That self-care. I haven't loved myself as much as I want to.
So,
from a child.
So I remember, I think I was talking with someone whose name here is Lemon Tree today. I was talking with Lemon Tree about this. Like, people in DA, they think they're feeling deprived if they don't get to spend what they want. Like, they're like, oh, I can spend money now, yay! And I'm like, before you make it about spending, can you make it about getting love and joy? Can you like, I heard a lady who's probably in DA 40 years now tell a story when I first came into the program that her PRG people wanted her to see that abundance could be free, that abundance didn't have to be based on money.
And so
they would have her
service giving. My mom, before she passed away, she had like 20 different groups that she gave to. She couldn't write towards the end because her hand shook, but she was giving away her money, similar to what Warren Buffett said. He didn't want to die with a penny. And I have that.
It's actually not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, let's see if happiness can be different from money. Let's see if happiness can be a sunset or a call with a friend. Like, what if you got your like the deep desire to spend is an emotional desire. And even giving away money is a money related like thing that we do in like
service.
Yeah, service is good, but I'm not anti-philanthropy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I'm thinking out loud. Doing service, for example, going to help out at this. I help out at this homeless shelter, but there's a selfish side of it for me as well, because it makes me feel that. I see these teenagers smiling. I'm going to end it at this. Is that you do what and then I had a sponsor who quit being my sponsor because I didn't say anything, but I said, well, I don't like pedicure. She said, go out and get a pedicure.
So Wonder Woman, I'm so sorry. I have all these people who want to get their questions answered.
Yeah, I'm lowering my hand. Thank you so much for understanding me, and thank you for doing this.
Thanks. The Sleepy Cheetah, would you mind if we let Callie Girl and Maria and Jay ask a question, since they haven't asked any questions yet, before we get to yours? Would you mind?
Not at all.
Oh, thank you so much. So Callie Girl, you're next.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Okay, this has been wonderful, but like, I have ADD, and I'm like, it sounds like budget, spending. That's all I hear. I can't even understand what you guys are saying because it's so complex in my mind that I'm thinking the what, the who, and I'm new. I don't know what to say. I'm like embarrassed, right? Because I should have some concept, and I just did it, girls. I don't like this calling people because I feel like I'm begging, and like, I have too much pride, but that's okay. That's for another program. Okay, so I went to the bank and I told them, hey, I need help with this freaking numbers. And so they gave me a budget. No, they didn't give me a budget. They gave me an app. The app is called Rocket something. Okay, so it was transferred, my whole thing in the bank to this app, but it didn't tell me 50, I can't remember, 50, 20, I don't remember, but the whole thing is they're supposed to have 50% of your money to pay rent or whatever, and then 20% to save and all of this. And then I begin to think, wow, I'm spending $1,400 on shopping, clothing and shit for a month. We got to stop that. But then I don't know how to do this. So I don't want to do this. I'm not happy to be here. Like, everybody seems to enjoy themselves. I'm fucking here because I owe $20,000 and I can't.
Oh my God, I know.
It's like, fuck this shit, man. I just want to get it done and get out of here because it's like boring and it's so what spreadsheet. I never liked spreadsheets. I remember I went to accounting or whatever, and I'm like, I don't like this shit. First, because I switch numbers. I guess I have that thing called dyscalculia. I don't know if you know, but you hear 7, 8 and you write fucking 87. every fucking time. So you get in trouble at school, you get in trouble at work, you get in trouble because you put the fucking wrong number in the wrong space. So, one time I remember I was going to, oh my God. Anyway, I won't even tell you what happened with Mary Ho, but that's a different story. Basically, I call her Ho because I didn't know that Ho in Spanish is a bad word. It's a bad word in English, but in Spanish, it doesn't sound bad. Like J for us is Ho. So that's what happened, and I'm so sorry. Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing this. Please forgive me. I don't want to do this.
I just want to respond. You're giving me so much material.
I'm sorry.
I just want to respond to what you're saying.
Yeah. That's how I hear you guys. Exactly how you're hearing me. That's in my mind going, what the fuck are they talking about? But anyway, I'm sorry.
You probably sound like we all have most people in DA have ADHD. So you're probably right that we sound like you. That's probably right. Well, there's a couple of pieces that you said that are really great that I want to pull out. So one is you say, I don't want to be here. Girl, same. I don't want to need all this 12-step BS. I don't want to need this. This sucks. That's all of us. Nobody's here because we thought it was a good idea.
No. And the other thing is, so how do I do the budget? 50, 60, 80? What's the rule?
Sure. So we have to go back to the phone call thing. So you do not have to call people and say, hey, I need your help, right? You can call people and say, hey, and I'm just going to make up a name, okay? Because, I guess I'm going to use your name, Callie girl. Hey, it's Callie. I'm calling to wish you an abundant day. How are you? And then they go, oh my God, Callie, you sound so organized and on top of things. I look up to you. And you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to sound like a victim. If anything, I figured out very early in my DA that if I called people sounding like a victim, they'd hang up so fast.
Yeah.
And that's not you being proud that you don't want to sound that way. That's you being savvy about how humans do not like needy.
No.
They do not like needy.
No, we don't.
And in DA, we have an abundance of people who sit in Zoom meetings, have their hands raised, never get called on. And when they finally get called on, they're weeping. And it's like one after another. I'm getting evicted. I can't afford food. At a certain point, it all sounds the same, right? We're all just like, okay, well, keep coming back, write down your numbers. Like you develop like calluses, So it's very wise not to walk into a DA meeting or a DA phone call and be like, please help me, I'm so desperate, right? Because for those of us who've been around a long time, we've heard it all before, tell it to the Marines. We've heard it all before. We've heard it every day for years, Now, does that negate when someone is being vulnerable and they're sharing and it's really hard and, oh, Nora, it's so hard, you don't understand. Oh my God. Like, no, it doesn't negate it. Those things are very real. But for you to say, I don't want to sound needy, I'm too proud to sound needy, that's great. I came into DA very arrogant, and it was I don't believe that anything in life is all bad or all good. I believe that everything is an asset and a liability. So the liability of my arrogance, which I still have, and hopefully it's less, the liability of my arrogance was protecting me when I first came in, because I was like, well, you're all kind of idiots. So I'm gonna call you because you probably need some love today. And then I met all these people and they were nice to me because I was friendly and I wasn't needy. And people were a lot quicker to take my calls. So that's one thing. Second thing, we don't there's a million things out there in the world that are like advice on money management, right? DA is actually not a money management program. It's a spiritual program that says, I'm so messed up with money that I can't manage it, right? I am powerless over money, debt, earning, etc. And my life has become unmanageable, right? So just like we don't do, just like in food recovery, we don't manage our food, we don't do diets, right? In DA, we do have structure, but we don't have diets. And that's what food plans were created for. We were all so addicted to dieting, that we had to stop trying to diet and we had to start making it one day at a time as like a daily food plan. That's what John H. was trying to do. He was trying to take people out of being good little boys and girls, trying to manage money and trying to follow a budget, right? For him, budget was like diet is for the food addicts, right? And he said, how do we help people take it one day at a time and begin to have a spiritual transformation where spending plan and action plan and tracking their numbers one day at a time grows over time the way that, I've weighed and measured my food every day with no exceptions. Like I had relapses. I've been in food recovery since January of 06. I've had relapses, but my last relapse, the day I got out of my last relapse was October 13th, 2010. And I've weighed and measured without exception from October 13th, 2010 to now. Inside of that, I've had abstinent pregnancies. I've had abstinent childbirths. I've had abstinent marriage. I've had abstinent divorce, solvent childbirth, solvent pregnancy, solvent marriage, solvent divorce. One day at a time, my body and my money are healthier. So I would just say, keep writing down your numbers and keep coming to meetings and all the rest will come. And be totally not needy when you first call people. Okay. That's awesome.
Oh, you made me laugh. Thank you so much. I need this. It gets too serious around here. Not you, but other people. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so there's no rule on 50-60 or 50-20 or anything like that, right? Okay.
No, you gotta figure out. You gotta ask.
And I got a question. So I got a sponsor, right? She's really cool because she doesn't call me. So in a way, it's good because she's no, I just 30 days. Just call me every day. That's all I gotta do. And I'm like, okay, that's easy. She's not around. Click. I just leave a text message, and to me, that's awesome. Because I really don't want to be your friends. I just want to get this shit done. I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to hear how the guy cheated on you and left you there, and you're gonna. I've been there too much. 48 years of my mother complaining and bitching about my dad, and they never left each other. And it's like, I don't want to know. I just want to talk about this thing and get it over with and get on with my life. I'm not interested in anybody's drama because I had enough of that. So anyway, like a total codependent, I moved to the worst fucking part of the world in the United States, which is Ithaca, New York. I'm fucked. I'm from California. I love my son, but no, I had to try being with my daughter and my grandchildren. Now they don't give a fuck. So now I'm going back. That's it. That's one of my priorities. Go back and never moved out of any state unless I want to, not what other people want, but what I want. Anyways, thank you so much. Sorry I took so much time. I'm going to keep coming back. And I don't know what the fuck or how I'm going to call the people that I owe them money, but I'll find out because I'm scared. I'm scared they're going to take everything from me. I don't have much, but I'm afraid they're going to come over and just take everything. Although it wouldn't be much. But anyway, okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly girl. Keep coming. That's the most important thing. Keep coming back. Make lots of phone calls. Be really friendly and as hilarious and adorable as you are. You can see there's a lot of people laughing. Maria, I think it's your turn.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nora, thank you so very much. I really, really enjoyed this. I went this morning to the Malibu, which I do it pretty much every morning. And then I was looking at my phone, and then I saw this, and I said, yes, I'm going to do it. I've been abstinence on spending for 6 years. Is when I started coming right when the pandemic. I'm still almost $100,000 in debt, but I have no credit cards. I know, and I got a sponsor. I've been working with a sponsor, but I am having problems and getting my spending plan. I mean, I write the numbers, and then suddenly the pencil and paper gets really heavy. It's like the phone gets heavy. I'm I'm 67. I've been a hairstylist pretty much all my life, which money has been good. I've been how to say, I've been blessed with that. But I know, you know what? I'm getting tired. I'm getting older, and I want to be able to have a good spending plan for saving my money for when I retire. I mean, like, I take trips every year, and that's what my sponsors say. You do take a lot of trips, but I do have my envelope system. I have taken all the tools that I have saying here. Keep your envelope system, keep saving. Saving envelopes for vacation, for all that. And I've been working on this, but it's just my spending plan, putting it together, and like what she said, and now I would start working in something about having like my own business. And she said, you're not ready to move forward to that. And I go, why? Because I want to do a spending plan monthly. And she said, no, we got to go back again to the basis. And I said, no way. We've been doing this for 6 years. She said, yeah, but you're still vague on your spending plan. And it's like, okay, so now I'm working on my November, December, and January so I can get to my spending plan for March. And hopefully maybe I can move forward on this. But I have all those record papers. I've been keeping all my paperwork, and I got to do it. I mean, I
So
like
Maria,
hers.
all you have to do, Maria, all you have to do is make a list of what you think stuff will cost. Like that's a spending plan. Like you take your design. It sounds like you've been tracking your numbers a long time, but you've never added them up into categories. And when we add, what?
I download some of the category papers, but I think it's what. Okay, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
No, however you do it, it doesn't matter. You can use the app, you can use this, you can that. I like to do it. I write stuff down and then I sit there and I enter it into Excel spreadsheets, and it's really tedious and I don't always love doing it, but I usually don't love doing it for the first 3 minutes, and then I'm fine. And then I'm having a good time. And I get on DA meetings or Al-Anon meetings or whatever on Zoom, and I let them keep me company while I'm doing my numbers, and it's wonderful. So I don't try to do any of it by myself. And what I have to do is one way or another, I have to take each thing that I spend, put it in a category. Then I have to add up the categories for each month. And even just 1 month is better than nothing. And then I have to look at the categories and say, okay, can these totals, like if it's 1,400 for groceries, if it's 2,000 for rent, if it's, $100 for cell phone, whatever it is, like, if I paid $96.22 for my cell phone this month, so I'll make my spending plan $100 for cell phone, right? You just have to convert the actual record into a plan for the coming month. That's all a spending plan is. That's all it is. That's what it starts out as. And then it becomes more advanced over time. But you got to write it down before it happens. That's the point of a plan. If you don't, like, I'll give you the example as food. There are some people who do not turn over their food before they eat it. That works for them. It does not work for me. I have to turn over my food before I eat it. And if you tell me, well, just turn your food over after you eat it, that is totally a thing. That's fine, but it's not a food plan. It's a food record. So if you want to go ahead.
I do have a spending record weekly. I write it down every what I spend every day.
That's great. So it sounds like you have all the ingredients you need. You just have to write down the plan now for each category for a month. That's all you got to do.
And put them all in the record. So to get to that. And
that's all you got to do. And if you want, you can do it now while I let other people ask questions. You can just do it now and let us keep you company while you're doing it. Like you don't ever have to do anything alone.
Exactly what I'm doing it, but I want to get to that. Maybe it is, put them on my little spending sheet and then add them all 3 months. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Maria. Okay. Jay with the sunset. You've been so patient.
Oh, I don't even want to show my face. I'm scary looking right now. Anyway, you're amazing. Your patience, like with all these people asking you questions, I just give you kudos. So here's the story with me. So I turned 70 in August, which freaked me out because I'm a Toys R Us kid and I don't want to grow up. But anyway, I've been in OA for 5 years, abstinent, no sugar, no ice cream, cake, cookies, candy, chips. I'm 150-pound weight loss for 22 years, even before OA because of gastric bypass. But anyway, OA helped me during COVID when I gained 50, and it's been an amazing program in my life. And through OA, I found DA 18 days ago, and I vowed, when I learned the word solvent, okay, that I want to be solvent too. And so I'm 18 days solvent today, and I vowed 90 meetings in 90 days. And today's 18 days meetings too. So I'm wondering, should I be here? Because I'm new, but I answered those 15 questions. I printed out all the literature people sent me for the newcomer, and I still have to read it. But I only answered yes to one of those 15 questions. And what I do every month is I write down what bills are due that month, what day they're due, the amount, the day I pay it. But I see that I'm using my JetBlue card way more than I'd like to, because every month, the 150 I get transferred twice a month from my savings to my checking. I keep transferring back into the checking to pay my JetBlue, because I just keep using that JetBlue card, so I get free flights to my son and grandson in Florida. So it cost me $11.20 to fly round trip to Florida 3 times a year. So I don't want to give up that JetBlue card. But before, I used to always pay with debit, and if I didn't have the money, I really didn't buy it. So with the JetBlue card, I just say, oh, I'll just pay it at the end of the month. And I don't owe any money on JetBlue, and I have a mortgage, and I'm a single woman, and I still owe like $100,000 on my mortgage. It was $250,000 22 years ago, but I still owe 100, and that's a lot on me at 70 years old. Like, I wish I could learn how to pay that off better. But I'm a retired preschool teacher for 30 years, and I still sub in the classroom because I'm trying to make some money in retirement, because I want to go to Broadway shows, and I'd like to go to Paris, Greece, and Italy. Those are on my bucket list, but I have no money. You want to know how much I have in my savings account? $300. No, well, I had $300 18 days ago.
So Jay,
Now I
so
have
Jay,
800. Okay.
Jay,
Go ahead.
I think I know what I need to tell you, which is that I also do not identify with the 15, with many of the, how do I want to say this? When I came into Debtors Anonymous, I did not identify with most of the things on the DA list, on the like symptoms or, whatever. The things that make you, that are you a debtor, right? I identify with them now because I've like deepened my recovery over time. But I want to read you something that it's like an alternative list. And maybe if you identify with these, maybe it would make it easier to see yourself as a belonging member of our program. Could I read you this list?
Yeah, I would love it. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first part is money fears. I felt afraid that I would never be safe or secure financially. I was afraid that there would never be enough. I was afraid to spend money because I was afraid there would never be enough. I was afraid to go out to eat with friends because I was afraid of splitting the check. If I did go out with friends, I often wouldn't order anything because I was so afraid of dealing with money in a friendship context. If I went out with friends and ordered something, I would order the tiniest thing I could find on the menu. If at the end of the night, everyone expected to divide the check by the number of people at the table, I was filled with resentment about paying for their big meals and alcoholic drinks. If I spoke up about it, I tried so hard to be nice, but no matter what I said, I felt like everyone hated me afterwards. I avoided shopping for self-care basics like clothes, a winter coat, home supplies, and more. I often let self-care supplies like prescriptions or toilet paper run out to the very last bit. Then I would get into a crisis state in order to generate enough energy to leave the house and get more. Overspending. I also spent too much money. Sometimes I would spend money in a magical thinking state, hoping that if I gave money to charity or invested in my business, that would mean God would reward me in some way. I could go on. This is a 65-item list, but do you feel like you're hearing other things that you might identify with?
God, as soon as you read that, it was like God told you to read that to me, because I hate going out to eat with all my friends that drink alcoholic beverages and order all this food. And I order like 2 things, and sometimes I bring my own spinach because I don't like the way the restaurant cooks the spinach. So that had my name all over it. Yes, and then during the winter, it was too cold to walk outside. So what did Joanne do? I went into Saks on Fifth. I went into TJ Maxx and Marshalls. I ended up with 1 winter coat on one day, another winter coat on the next day, a spring coat on the next day, a pocketbook on the next day. 4 days walking indoors the store. But there was $200 for 50. Oh, and this one was $250 for 40. Look
Joanne,
at the bargains.
So I'm sorry, I should call you Jay. So Jay, why don't you go ahead and join our WhatsApp group? Do you see in the chat that D'Artagnan's been putting up? join our
Mhm.
WhatsApp group because we
Okay.
have all kinds of resources that we
Mhm.
can share with you there.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't want to keep it a secret. I was reading to you a 65 item list from the book I wrote called Getting Started in Money Recovery.
Oh, let me write that down. Getting started
uh,
in money account. Go ahead.
So it's just, I do believe we need more fleshing out of what this DA disease really is and how it really shows up for us. So join our WhatsApp group and we'll make sure you get more info. Okay?
All right. One last question is your first slide. Is there any way, because I was taking pictures of your slides, is there any way you could put in the chat your first
Sure.
slide? Because I want, just have a picture of that.
Sure. I can just reshare my screen.
Or how could we get these slides? Is there any way?
I don't share my slides, but if you want to take
Okay.
a picture, you can take a picture.
All right, love. Thank
So
you.
Sleepy Cheetah, I asked you
Yes.
to wait till after Jay had gone. Do you want to go now? Or should
Thanks
we
so much.
You're welcome, Jay. Do you want to go now, Sleepy Cheetah, or should we let herself and Madagascar go?
I would love to if it's okay. I don't want
Yeah,
to.
go for it.
Okay, cool. So my question was about the turning expenses over before spending.
Yep.
And I see like in DAPS, I just saw like the little 2 lines about that. I was just wondering if you had any other guidance for doing that towards recovery and like what we're expecting from the person on the other line and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry, you were talking so fast and so quietly. I have no idea what you just said after like I was looking at DAPS and something. Like, what did you just say? The last 2 sentences or the last?
Oh, sorry. I was on my headphones. Is this better?
Yes, but also talk loudly, please.
Is this it? Can you hear me? Am I
I
still
can,
quiet?
yeah. Just be loud and proud. Don't be like, I was wondering if, right? Like, just be loud and proud, okay?
Okay, cool. I want to know if so I'm hearing that the really important part of all of this, or one of the really important parts, is turning money over before spending it, turning the expense over before spending the money.
That's certainly one thing that worked for me in my early recovery and that I'm never going to tell people not to do. Like, if you want to do it, go for it. It's wonderful. It'll change your life.
Okay. And I was just wondering if you could give more guidance around that. Like, does that just, so like I saw in the DAPS WhatsApp group that I just joined, like it's somebody who has done 2 PRGs and has 90 days of solvency or something like that. And so is that something like we send it in like a text message, we're making a phone call? Is it like something that we do at the beginning of the day, or is it something we can do throughout the day? I just wondering more like guidance.
Got it. So usually what we, because I guess I sort of helped invent this, I can tell you, usually what we did was we made a list of all the definite and possible expenses of the day. So even if I wasn't planning on going to the grocery store, I would say $50 groceries from my $2,000 grocery plan for the month, right? Even if I wasn't planning on spending it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you were kind of giving yourself some wiggle room.
Exactly. So it's different from a food plan, right? Because you don't have to spend everything. You just don't spend anything without having turned it over, right? To someone with 90 days and 2 PRGs. So, and the idea is not that you're trying to make everyone in DA be your taskmaster. It's that you're trying to bring God in. And it's really hard to bring God in when we're alone in our head, right? So we bring God with skin on, right? So then what you do is you read the list. You try to make the list as long as possible so you don't forget anything. But if you forget something, you read it out loud to somebody. And if you can find someone in the morning to take your numbers, great. And honestly, I'm very suspicious of like, go find a DAP sponsor because just find somebody who has 90 days and 2 PRGs. Just do that, because unfortunately, people get really controlling when they think they're giving you something that's really specific and it has to be really rigid. And there's a very few number of sponsors available and a very large number of people who want the sponsorship. And I think just all of the exhaustion and all the scarcity and all the like people who have 10 people in a row calling them at 5 minutes for 5 minutes each. And then, if you're late, if you're one of the people that misses your 5 minutes, then that sponsor's like, someone else could have taken your spot and I'm going to fire you. And right. Like all that scarcity, like that is not healthy for DA recovery. Like we are trauma survivors. We grew up in these exhausted, scarce families of origin where people were doing their best and shouting at us and shaming us because they were scarce on emotional support and time and everything. So I feel like it almost sets up a re-traumatizing, you know? So I would just say, find a buddy, follow the system that the DAPS people give you, but don't do it. Like, don't beg one of the big kahunas to do it for you.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is why I stopped sponsoring, because I was not a nice sponsor anymore. Because so many people wanted my help, I couldn't give it in a loving way. And I was like, the only way I can be loving is if I do it at scheduled times with a group. That is where my brain is right now. And if I have people expecting me to be their goddess, their priestess, I will not be nice. Because we cannot put ourselves in scarcity and exhaustion for the sake of other people's recovery and expect that to go well. That's why people say, oh, those groups are so abusive. And then the people who are doing it are like, I don't feel abusive, I feel overwhelmed, you know?
And the buddy's responsibility is not to respond. I mean, maybe if we have an action group or like a whatever PRG, but like in that moment, they're just listening to that. They're not responding to like, well, have you
their
thought about
job
this?
is to be a witness. Their job is to be a witness to your surrender to higher power. That's their job.
Got it.
And this whole thing we do in DA where we think everybody else has the better answers. No one else has the better answers. Stop looking for people to save you. We're all broken people with wounded souls in a broken system.
Yep.
We are all broken. We all needed 14 caregivers when we were children and we did not get it. And your parents didn't get it and their parents didn't get it. And the only way to build it out is to have warm, loving connection with other people in small doses across the day.
Awesome.
Make those 3 live calls a day to anybody you heckin' want, you heavenly want. And, you know, and when you have a money change, just find somebody, just call them. Like, can I turn over this money change?
What does money change mean? Sorry.
So let's say you've turned over all these things at the beginning of the day. Okay. And then like someone says to you, hey, you have to get your passport in by today if you want to be able to go on that big trip that you've been saving for. And you go, oh, crud, I have to go to the passport office. Okay, wait, how much does it cost? And you didn't turn over $150 passport rush fee, right? So the whole point is we don't spend money without turning it over to God with a witness, with another human witness.
Got it. Okay, cool. So like, yeah, if we are in an emergency situation, either that buddy or somebody else we find to do it before we do it.
And I'm talking about the passport thing because I was outside of a Kinko's one day and I had to call 20 people in a row. I think I was actually getting my passport photo taken, but I hadn't turned over passport photo. And I had to sit there. I was so annoyed. I was like, I spent an hour calling 20 people until I found someone. Probably not an hour, probably 25 minutes. But I didn't like it. But I did it anyway.
But that's commitment. Yeah. Cool.
And it was it was raining. I was mad. They wouldn't let me talk on the phone in the store. I had to stand in the rain. I was so mad, but I did it. I went to AnyLinks.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for letting me go. I'm going to head out the door, but this has been amazing. And yeah, thank you.
You got it. You got it, Sleepy Cheetah. Okay. I have people who really want me to end on time. So let's try to do like speed round. Herself, go ahead.
Sorry. Hi. Some of my questions were already answered because you put that stuff in the link. Just now it appeared for me on the link. So thank you for that. I was looking for the spreadsheet link. How can I get a link to your March 21st, all 12 steps so that I can plan to attend?
Join the WhatsApp group. Join the WhatsApp group and we will post it there.
And that was in that link that just came in?
Yeah. Do you see where it says WhatsApp group for Fellowship Recordings Archive and Book Study?
Great. And when will I got here late, unfortunately, because I had not unfortunately, I got here late.
The less you can talk about what you need from me, the faster this will go. Can you just say what you need and not apologize?
I need the YouTube video. When will it be available?
If you join that WhatsApp group, the first moment it's available, that WhatsApp group is the one that will have it first.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job. Speed round, Madagascar. No apologies.
Yeah, hi. I was doing my numbers for about a year in a notebook but I could not get it onto a Google sheet. And I've made several attempts, many attempts, but I
Have you
just
made attempts where you were on a meeting or on a phone call and someone was keeping you company while you did it?
I went to a training session for that Google sheet, but I still
Not the same. Have you
no,
made
no, I never
attempts where
know. I never
people
know. I never.
have you made attempts where people were giving you love or just keeping you company?
No.
Okay, that's the magic of DA.
Yeah. What is there a Google sheet for the numbers that you recommend?
I mean, I'm so flexible. I don't care, but there is this
Flexible.
link to this Google sheet that I offered today. If you want to use that one, you
But
can.
is the Google sheet for numbers and the spreadsheet you've listed there, are they two different spreadsheets? Are they two
No,
different
no,
ones
it's a spreadsheet that's in Google Sheets that you can make a copy of and use it as much as you want.
to put your numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that confused me. And yeah, that's it really. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
Madagascar. Great to see you again. I remember you from another meeting. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks.
All right, light touch, speed round.
Yeah, you were talking about putting a percentage of, aside for the prudent reserve, and I don't know if I missed the number or if you gave
I
it.
didn't give a number today. I have in the past. I like to, I mean, I know that this can feel overwhelming for some people, but I like to put 50% of every check that comes in into prudent reserve.
Thank you.
I like to be aggressive. Awesome. Thank you. Jane, wow, we really are going to speed round. Jane, speed.
I bought someone a car and I'm 4 months behind and there's resentment and I did use it to please, control, and impress. And
Okay.
I have a windfall that so I don't know. I just
Want some feedback?
yeah. I
Okay,
got your
here's the
book.
feedback. You ready?
I'm ready.
When we stop people pleasing, people stop being pleased.
Oh no, I mean, what do I do with the car? Do I sell it or do I just turn it over knowing that my credit score is down
I
or
think
do I
selling it is good. I mean, your credit score is not your higher power, but if there's a way to sell it, I didn't know if the person was still using the car.
No, it's been with me for a year and a half and I've just been
Oh,
holding
okay.
on to it from
Sorry,
that
I
night.
got confused about the nature of the question. Yeah, sell
No.
it, get rid of it, pay it off, get rid of it. Why do you don't need two cars, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay,
No.
great. You're gonna be great. Go sell that car.
Thank you for your service. Thanks
You're
for the
welcome. All right, Jamie Lee, speed round, like 30
Do you-
seconds or less, 10
All
seconds. or
right. What is, how do you define abstinence in this program? Is it solvency or?
The official DA solvency is not incurring new unsecured debt.
How do you define it?
How do I define it? I define it as I don't use credit cards. I don't pay bills late. I don't borrow money. That's about it, right? Isn't that everything?
That sounds right. Yeah, I just wondered, like people are doing day counts. How do you, when
There
is
are
day?
people who are doing day counts. I had a 5-year day count. I had the longest day count of all time of that group when I was in it, and even 3 years after I left. There are people who do day counts of they don't spend money without turning it over before they spend it.
Okay. All right.
Just like I don't eat food without turning it over before I
Right. That's familiar to me and it has worked for me. So I wondered if there's an equivalent here.
Yeah, DAPS does it that way. DAPS, DAPS. We've talked about it a couple times.
Right. I heard that.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
MZE, speed round.
What is turning it over? And can you repost the WhatsApp in the group?
I think D'Artagnan just did. Do you see it? Can you see it?
Got it.
All right, great. Turning it over is you say it out loud to God with another human on the phone or in person witnessing you. If you say it out loud to God and there's no other human witnessing you, I can't speak for anyone else. I can only speak for myself. If I say something out loud to God and no one else hears me, did I say it to God or did I say it to my disease? Did I feed the angel or did I feed the devil? I don't know because I cannot tell the difference when I am alone in my head, which is why I need God with skin on. I need that witness. I need that witness. And if that witness hears me say it to God and goes, okay, sounds good, it's enough. If that witness hears me say it to God and goes, I'm sorry, did you just say you want to spend $5 million on, taking Jeffrey Epstein's favorite friend out to dinner and a movie? Like, what? No, don't do that, right? Like, wait, can we pause, right? Now that's God speaking through the person that maybe I need to take a pause, Does that make sense?
Loud and clear.
Love it. Love it. All right, Chatty, speed round.
Hi. So we've spoken a lot about not betting and clarity on the numbers and recording that. However, can you hear me?
We've spoken a lot about what?
We've spoken a lot about not betting and having clarity on the numbers, recording them.
I have no idea. Does anyone else hear her better than my ears? Chatty, you gotta stick that phone right up to you and be like, blah, blah, blah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but whatever you're afraid to tell us, that's the part we're not hearing.
Thank you. I'm wondering, can you talk more on how to increase income? What type of tools?
The most important thing you're going to do to increase your income is you're going to say, I am going to take income generating activities with 0 distractions for 8 hours, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the nighttime, no distractions, nothing, no phone calls, no internet, no video surfing, no meetings. I am going to take 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon, and I am going to fill those hours with action. And it doesn't matter what the actions are. It can be, I'm going to call 500 people and say, I am available for work. I am available for work. I am available for work. Or it can be, you book workshops or you record something on YouTube and post it that like you want to get people for, whatever, Patreon. I don't know these things, but you need to take income generating action.
Okay.
8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And the distraction, you and I both know, everybody here has heard me say, when we are under earning, we are almost always getting sucked into distraction. It is physically painful to sit there and not distract, but it is the most important detox we do in Debtors Anonymous.
Thank you.
It's 3:59 p.m. I think we're going to end on time. I just want to say, Nicole, thank you so much for being an awesome, she changed it. Did you have your real name on there? I can't even tell. Did I screw this up again? Yeah, I did. I'm such an idiot. Go ahead.
My PayPal account is my name. It's heinicole@web.de.
So guys, please, if this was a useful workshop for you, please, we do it so that this wonderful group in Hessen, Germany can send people to the GSR and put on, more workshops and more fellowship for the fellowship. So please give money to them. Please give money to my Venmo and to Nicole's PayPal. Everything you give will be delivered to that treasury one way or another. Scouts Honor, we really want as many people as possible to, benefit.
And have more, and do more workshops, with Nora. There's so many topics coming up each time we finish one.
I know, we're never out. All right, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much. I can't think of it. Oh, maybe just tell them about Recovery Castle. You want to tell them about Recovery Castle?
Oh yeah, we have a webpage. The Veterans Group has a webpage. There's all the information on it. It's Debtors Anonymous in one word .de for Germany because we are located in Germany, and debtorsanonymous.de, and you'll find all the information there. And we're just preparing for the one it's the last weekend of August. And Nora will be there in person if you want to meet Nora in flesh and blood.
Flesh and blood.
Yeah.
I will be giving a lot of hugs. I hope everybody is prepared for hugs.
Yeah, and it's from Thursday till Monday, but you can stay just a night, a day. The day, I say, a day guests are for free. Yeah, and it's a youth hostel, so it's affordable food. We have abstinent food for people that measure and weigh. So, and we will have, we were open to everybody, to all 12-step groups, and it was awesome when we had it in January. Yeah, and we're looking forward to the next one. And we'll have more, not only her, but we'll have more speakers from different fellowships. And yeah, it'll be an all-inclusive place, I say. Not all-inclusive, how do you say? It's just inclusive. I don't
think we
know.
actually do say all-inclusive. The food and the lodging are all part of the price. You get the food as part of the lodging. Is that right?
No, I was thinking about
volunteers. We can still use volunteers in service.
Oh, you're saying it's everybody from every 12-step program. And there's going to
Yes.
be a lot of meetings and from a lot of different 12-step programs. Awesome. Sunshine on my shoulders, did you have questions about the Recovery Castle?
I'm wondering if you can share the last 4 digits of your phone number in case Venmo asks.
Sure. Here you go. I just put them in the chat.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording. Yes.